Lancaster's team is struggling. Having lost 3 straight games, the Ticats are hoping Danny Mac will be back in the lineup. If not, it could be another adventure with backup Todd Bankhead. Dave Ritchie's Blue Bombers are in for the battle of their playoff lives. Every game is crucial. This group of young and talented players needs to step up if the Bombers are to realize their postseason dreams. 2 teams with something to prove. The Ticats and Bombers on Adidas Friday Night Football.
Well, anytime's great football, but when it feels just right, we're gonna kick back, relax, watching football on a Friday night. It's Friday, and we're gonna be hard to take. It's Friday, from coast to coast, the CFL is Canada's game. Well, we're all pumped up to party, and we're ready for a fight. Come on, kick back, relax, watching Friday Night Football. Boys are too bad, playing CFL football. Game is up for grabs. It's Friday Night Football tonight.
Winnipeg, Manitoba. 3 weeks left in the season. The stretch run begins with the Bombers and Ticats on Adidas Friday Night Football. Hey folks, how are you? James Duffy along with the crew, Eric Tillman, Matt Dunnigan, and a man who gets paid by the syllable and is thus very rich, the one and only Chris Schultz. We'll talk to them in just a moment. First though, will he or won't he? The question again this week, the he being Danny McManus and his bum leg. For a quick update on his status, let us send you right out to Winnipeg. Here are John Wells and Glenn Suter.
James, I think it's safe to say that everyone in Canadian football knows the biggest story that's happening in Winnipeg tonight. It's the health of Danny McManus and whether or not he will be the starting quarterback and last this game for the Tiger Cats tonight. You think he will?
Well, I think he will. Ron Lancaster or Danny McManus won't say anything until kickoff, but I think he will for 3 reasons. 1, Danny McManus took all the #1 reps in practice all week. Number 2, he's a very competitive individual, even though it's hard to tell that by looking at him. He wants to snap this losing streak more than anybody on that Ticat team. And number 3, he took all the reps in warm-up. He looks fine. I think I'd be very surprised if Danny McManus doesn't go tonight.
Now, from the Winnipeg point of view, this is a huge game for the Blue Bombers. Simply put, if Winnipeg goes on a 3-game winning streak starting tonight, the Bombers will be in the playoffs.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. So we think that Danny McManus is starting, and the question is, I guess, again this week, should he be?
Well, I don't think so, James. I think Danny McManus is in a situation where he doesn't need to. The Hamilton Tiger Cats need a healthy Danny McManus behind the center, not now, but during the playoffs. Go back to 1990 with the Toronto Argonauts. 3 games to go, we needed 1 win to secure a home field playoff position. I went back in the ball game, pulled my hamstring, was out the rest of the season, and more importantly, postseason. Now, Hamilton Tiger Cats are not going to catch the Montreal Alouettes. Winnipeg Blue Bombers are more than likely not going to catch them, so they're already secured a home field playoff position. Let Danny McManus sit. Let him have a vacation for 2 or 3 weeks, Chris. They need him healthy because they're not the same team without him.
But you know what, Matty? He's feeling it, and he's feeling it internally to play this football game, and he's feeling it from the outside because everyone has one question for McManus in his regular life. How's a hamstring? He gets it from his mother, his father, his brother, his sister, his wife, the guy that gives him coffee in the morning. Danny McManus isn't a person right now. He's a giant hamstring. He wants to play football, but he also wants this question to end. How's the hamstring?
Well, Chris, Danny Mac or no Danny Mac, this is a critical game for Winnipeg. They're fighting for their playoff lives, and with 3 games left, they're in control of their destiny. That's right now. The combination of a loss tonight against Hamilton and a Toronto win against Edmonton, and suddenly the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are back on the bottom looking up. It's imperative that Winnipeg play well tonight, and if they win, they're in terrific shape, James.
Danny McManus is a giant hamstring. So if his gluteus maximus was pulled, would he be a giant? No, we don't even
Don't go there.
When we return, we will take you around our regular weekly look at the other games going on this week, including Damon looking to stomp Dave Dickinson and the Stamps. Previews ahead.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN is brought to you in part by Adidas. by Molson Canadian, I am Canadian. And by 3M Filtrate air cleaning filters. Breathe the difference.
Your CFL standings beginning in the East. Montreal with a nice 4-point cushion on Hamilton for first. And the other battle is really for third. The Bombers right now just a single point ahead of the Argos. And of course, there are also crossover implications with the Lions in Saskatchewan in the West. Speaking of which, Calgary on top. They could have clinched last week. Now they can't clinch this week unless they get some help. They need Edmonton to lose as well. And BC entrenched in third spot with 13 points. Saskatchewan thinking about catching BC, again also thinking about catching the Argos and Bombers and possibly crossing over. All right, time now to get you ready for the other 3 games this week, and we will start in Toronto. And about a month ago, if you mentioned the word playoffs, people would just giggle or look at you funny. Now it is a real possibility. John Liu has a preview of the Eskimos and the Argos.
The turning point in the Toronto Argonauts season may have been their win over the Edmonton Eskimos in Week 12. Since that time, the Argos have tinkered with the offensive line and leaned on Tyrone Brown as a deep threat, freeing up slot back Daryl Mitchell underneath. That's allowed quarterback Kerwin Bell to balance the offense more effectively.
We feel good right now with our offensive system and the guys we got in here, and it comes back to execution, controlling the line of scrimmage, and if we do those things, we'll be successful.
Going into tomorrow, our first focus obviously is to stop in the run and put them in second long situations and hopefully force Kerwin's hand a little bit so that he has to make some decisions quicker than he wants to, or we're able to open up our playbook a little bit on him.
The Eskimo squad that beat the first-place Stampeders last week is a much-improved unit over the one that lost to the Argos in September. The Double Blue will have a tougher time taking advantage of a healthier and more cohesive defense, and as always, must take whatever measures necessary to stop quarterback Nealon Green.
I hear Carlos Delgado signed again, and I wish I could use him tomorrow. And I wish he could bring his bat with. I think that's the only way you can stop Nealon Green. He's such an exciting player. He can do so many things, hurt you with his arm, with his head, and his legs.
If they still game planning around me, I must be doing something right, and that's a positive thing. And one thing it is helping a lot of other guys to get the opportunity to make some big plays for us.
Who needs this game more? Well, flip a coin. The Eskimos feel they have a realistic chance to pass the Stampeders, and even if they tie them in the standings, they'd still get first place because they won the season series. The Argos are chasing the Bombers for the last playoff spot in the East, but with a strong finish, they could also cross over and edge out the BC Lions in the West. John Liu, TSN, Toronto.
Did I hear Pinball Clemens say he wanted Carlos Delgado to beat up Nealon Green with a bat? He has changed. CBC has it Saturday, 3 Eastern. By the way, Calvin Tiggle served Eric and I dinner the other night at an Argos charity function. He was very kind and polite. He promises to be the exact opposite to Nealon Green and the Eskimos tomorrow. Other games this weekend, Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern, Montreal and Saskatchewan. Montreal has won 9 straight against Saskatchewan. In fact, the Riders haven't beaten the Owls since the Owls came back into the league, included in that a 62-7 pasting in Montreal earlier in this season. And also Sunday, British Columbia taking on Calgary. The Stamps again, 3 up on Edmonton in the West. BC entrenched in third spot right now in the Western Division. All right, let us talk about all 3 of those games, and I'll just go down the row and let you take your pick.
Any game?
Any game.
Okay, I'll take, let's see, BC Calgary. You know, last week the Calgary defense, what the heck happened to them? I mean, they were out there sleepwalking, but I think this week they should be ready to play. But let's also remember they're playing a very, very dangerous team in the BC Lions. When Damon Allen's playing well, and he's doing that now, when he's hot, hey, he can carry a team by himself. When you break down a game, though, and you look at this matchup, you look for I guess, matchups where you might create big plays. And I think the key area to watch is the Calgary wide receiving corps, an explosive group against a vulnerable BC secondary. If that BC secondary can play well, they've got a chance. If they give up some big plays, it's going to be a long game, Matt.
Well, I'm going to take Montreal and Saskatchewan.
All right,
I see 2 different teams here. One very experienced, have been through the wars and know where they're going, making plays towards the end run of the season. And I see Saskatchewan. I see a young football team that is starting to turn the football over more readily and not making the plays, feeling the effects of a long Canadian Football League season. A very young football team. Montreal is plus 20 in the giveaway takeaway ratio. Saskatchewan minus 7. Saskatchewan cannot afford to turn the football over to the Montreal Alouettes, and they must need to stop the run. Mike Pringle's coming in, averaging 5.5 yards per carry. Last week, Saskatchewan gave up 268 yards on the ground. They can't afford to do that, Chris, because this football team, Montreal, is red hot, and they're making the plays when they need to.
And I'll take the Toronto game in Edmonton. That's fine with me because this is going to be a great one. You know, both of these teams, after 16 weeks of football, are really feeling good about themselves. Edmonton feels great. They beat Calgary 3 out of 4 times, and they're starting to get their team speed back on offense. Names like Ashley Vaughn, McCorvey Green, Hervey Walters. They may be on the same football field on the offensive side at the same time. What does that equal? Speed. Toronto feels good because they're starting to believe in the coaching staff, and they're starting to believe in one another. That is different at this point in the season. But to me, it's the single back set with Michael Jenkins for Toronto, Mark Nora for the Edmonton Eskimos. Whoever produces out of that single back set is going to win the game because it's a great formation. You take one of those players that should be on the line of scrimmage, you put them in open space, and then you run right where in that voided area. And if that running back gets to the second level, he's going to get 10 yards a pop. The key, who runs the ball better?
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Lots ahead on the show and lots more from these guys. But up next, Kahari is Kahat. The Winnipeg quarterback has been rolling up some great numbers, almost 1,000 yards passing, 8 TDs in his last 3 games. Those are the numbers. We'll meet the man next. Well, CFL fans were blessed throughout the 80s and early 90s with a slew of talented quarterbacks. You had your Dunnigans and your Fluties and your Barretts and your Austins and so on and so on and so on. Well, the last few years has been a bit of a transition period with new guys, except for Damon Allen, who's still around. But Dave Dickinson is a star. Anthony Calvillo is there. And new guys emerging such as Henry Burris and, of course, Nealon Green. And you can add another name to that list, Kahari Jones, who has become the future in Winnipeg.
Up close.
Harry Jones cherche désespérément un joueur. On va perdre le placement. Et s'il n'atteint pas un receveur dans la zone des buts, oui, c'est fait. Touché. Oh!
My whole professional career, everywhere I've been, there's been an established starter there, and the starter had been playing well, so it was just about me biding my time and staying in the game and being persistent because I knew that I felt like I had the talent to play, and so it's been nice finally getting a chance to play. And I love Winnipeg. I love playing here, but this will be the first time I'm a free agent, and you kind of have to look at all options, and so that's what I'll be exploring. But like I said, I really wouldn't mind staying here, but you have to kind of check out everything.
He shows a lot of promise, and of course the best CFL quarterbacks are the ones that can beat you with both their arms and their feet. He can do just that. His 389 rushing yards are second in the league among quarterbacks. He's been a little bit inconsistent, Matt, but shows tons and tons of potential.
Well, James, I think we all have to remember that this is Kahari's first year starting. The first 3 years with the BC Lions, he was backing up quarterback Damon Allen. He probably had no idea that he was going to get on the football field and wasn't used to preparing. Well, it took him a half a season to do that in Winnipeg, and now he's doing the preparation. He's studying the film. He's doing the things that are necessary for him to be prepared stepping on the football field. And we're seeing that preparation turn into production on the football field for Kahari Jones. He's a quarterback with all the skills. He can move, he's got a strong arm, and now he's starting to understand the game, Chris, and this kid is promising, and I like what the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have got as a quarterback.
To me, he's still a little bit inconsistent. He has to have great games back-to-back all the way through the season before he gets into the really top 2 or 3 quarterbacks within the league. I agree with what Matt says. The difference is how you approach the mental side of the game. Why? Because we all revert back to our comfort levels when stress is on. But you can really anticipate that. You can run those critical moments in your mind. And if you do it enough, you make the right decisions and you make the play. Kahari Jones will continue to get better and better and better as long as he immerses himself in football in every possible way, Eric.
Chris, this guy is an exciting young prospect.
Yeah.
There's no question about that, and he's going to continue to grow and develop. Hey, he can be the club's future, but they must, I mean, they absolutely must re-sign this guy now. He's a free agent in February. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers are headed in the right direction, but they need stability at the quarterback position. If you look at the teams in this league, the ones that are always at the top, they have consistent play, they have veterans at quarterback. Kahari Jones can grow and develop, he can lead this club, but they've got to get him signed, and that's a big challenge for Lyle Bauer right now.
And his numbers would be better if he hadn't been bothered by the injuries and the shoulder problems all year as well. Well, right now, because it's Friday night, all across Canada, people are watching us in bars with the volume turned down and the music blaring. They have no idea what we're saying. Watch. They have no idea. We could be making perfect sense to them. I feel sorry for those people, not because they're wasting their lives away in bars, but because they can't hear this. Sounds of the game.
Sounds of the game.
Don't go nowhere. It's all going to get better.
Season ticket winners 2001, all complimentary. Akila Shelly-7, the official. Boys.
Come on, defense! Defense! Defense!
Ticat fans celebrating the Grey Cup won last year in British Columbia.
I thought Duthie was in the studio.
Get it. Get it. Good job, D. Good job, D. Good job, baby.
How y'all guys doing down there? Give me that hot man down again.
Get the rock, right? You go get the rock and put it in the zone. Good shot. Good shot right here. This is my good shot right here. Not enough football. Don't get any better than this. Stay home, baby.
All right, up next, we'll get you ready for our game. It'll be a circus featuring flying fluties and the man who eats quarterbacks, plus our analyst, otherwise known as the Freak Show. We'll get you ready next. tsn.ca/CFL. Make it one of your bookmarks. You can click on all of our features. You can go against us in our weekly picks. Young ladies can just click on Matt's face and enjoy it. Whatever you want, it's all at tsn.ca/CFL. We have had all sorts of great duos in our time. Fred had Ginger, Joni had Chachi, Beavis had Butthead, and of course, Schultze has Maddie. And each week they team up in something we like to call virtual replay.
Virtual replay brought to you by Molson Canadian. I am Canadian.
Matt, as the season moves on, sometimes you have to adjust your formations to fit your present personnel. Here, the single back set for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers gives them the best opportunity to score points. But man, it is tough on the pass-blocking offensive linemen because there's as many as 6 one-on-one opportunities for the defense.
Well, tough in the sense that there's one-on-one opportunities, but it's very clear, and that's what you want offensively, is a clear picture. There's no hesitation, there's no confusion. You have one-on-one situations across the board, and then Dave Van Conen's going to look here to eyes to Tracy Gravely, number 7, then you have one-on-one right here. Very simple for the offense, no hesitation, no confusion. And on the perimeter for Kahari Jones, the same is true. One-on-one situations, the only man that he's concerned with is number 36, Lester Smith, and he has to move him with his eyes because he knows he's got G. Simon on number 37, Roundtree, right here in a one-on-one situation, and that's where he's looking to go.
And up front, really, it even becomes crystal clear because now all the one-on-ones blocking-wise are easy. Left tackle on right defensive end. Left guard on right defensive tackle. Right offensive tackle, left defensive end. And the double team in the interior, hey, Swiftbirch is the only one that makes the play. He beats the double team.
Well, Chris, they do a super job of protection here. You can see the pocket forming, and the Kahari Jones does a wonderful job of getting away from the center, creating separation, which gives him vision down the football field in order to move Lester Smith with his eyes. And then he throws a strike. We call it a dime to G. Simon, and then Simon steps up big like he has been all day for the absence of Milt Stiegel. This is a great shot from the end zone, Chris. You can see Lester Smith, number 36 here, settled down right in this area. Why? Because he's got a crossing route. Kahari moves him with his eyes this way, and then he throws a strike to G. Simon. Big play, and they're going to need some of that tonight, Chris, against the Hamilton Tiger Cat defense.
Pure poetry once again, gentlemen. All right, for more on this game and Danny McManus's condition, let's check in live again with John Wells and Glenn Suter out in Winnipeg. Guys?
Hey, guys, Glenn was right a couple of hours ago. Danny McManus is going to start as the quarterback for the Tiger Cats tonight. It is official. Good news in Hamilton, obviously, but horrible news for the Bombers here tonight.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, though. Chris Schultz called him a big hamstring, one huge hamstring. He didn't know he had a hamstring until he strained it, but I watched him in warm-up. He's throwing the ball fine, moving as much as Danny McManus moves. He's going to start in this game tonight.
Huge game for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They have an offense that is awfully explosive at times, 4 outstanding receivers, and if Kahari Jones can get the ball to these guys tonight, the Bombers can still have a pretty good evening.
Well, Robert Gordon's having his best season to date. Milt Stegall is their deep threat. Geroy Simon coming off a tremendous game. When you add up their touchdowns, 25 touchdowns combined between the 4 receivers. They want to get in the end zone. Something that when they did that last week caused them some problems.
Yeah, they have something called the dance after the Garth Brooks song, I would presume. And after the 3rd touchdown by Geroy Simon last week in Montreal, they tried to get the dance started. It didn't work.
Yeah, Milt Stegall was trying to get the dance going, and Milt Stegall actually got thrown out of that game. That was just before halftime. The Bombers didn't have his services for the rest of the way, and they, of course, lost that football game. They want to keep Milt Stegall in the lineup, obviously, tonight as long as they can, but they will dance if they find the end zone tonight, so we'll have some fun with that.
Yeah, obviously 2 reasons to keep Milt Stegall in the lineup tonight. He is not only their best pass receiver, but he's also the choreographer of that dance. Okay, guys?
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Well, we know the answer to this one, so there's no suspense, but let us check out our starting quarterbacks, brought to you by Robbins Donuts. Still rocking after all these years. It is indeed Danny Mac. Now, that's not an automatic cure. Remember, he's had all sorts of problems this year with interceptions, but it's definitely an improvement over the last few weeks for the Ticats, and he is absolutely explosive. And more importantly, his teammates have much more confidence in him. Kahari Jones, you heard from him when we talked about his numbers. They've been getting better as the season has gone on, a little bit inconsistent, but he's definitely been effective, especially in the last few weeks. All right, we have a couple minutes to talk about this one. We talked about Danny McManus. Obviously, that's key, but what's key for Danny McManus and the Ticats, I suppose, is to get off to a better start than they have the past few weeks.
Absolutely. I mean, the one negative consistency of the last 2 games, Hamilton against Toronto, was the first quarter play by the Ticats. It was not very good. Consequently, they had very poor field position 3 or 4 series going into the game, and it is so difficult to put a whole series of plays together in the Canadian League to drive the football 80 or 90 yards. You need your defense to give you a short field. If there's a couple things I'm looking for from Hamilton, number 1, play your best in the first quarter, and number 2, win the kicking game and get some decent field position, Matty.
Well, field position can be hurt in a hurry with 16 penalties for 135 yards, and that's what Winnipeg was faced with last week against Montreal. They can't afford the same situation. They have to be more disciplined football team. Penalties has caused this football team to lose a lot of close games. They can't afford that tonight. They have to be disciplined in all facets of the football and jump out early on the Hamilton Tiger Cats and get this crowd involved in the game so that Hamilton is stymied right away, doesn't gain any confidence.
Hey, Matt, it's late October, and what happens in late October? The weather becomes a factor, and even though we're not going to have snow or rain tonight, we are going to have wind. So I look for a guy, Corey Philpott, to be the key for Winnipeg. I think they need to establish the line of scrimmage and run the ball effectively. How did Toronto beat these Hamilton Tiger Cats last week? They ran the ball very effectively. I think the key tonight is going to be, again, who runs the ball better? Is it Corey Philpott? Is it Ronald Williams? In a close game, it's going to be interesting to see which one of those guys stands up.
And Winnipeg, 2 different teams, especially much better team at home. They've met 2 times this season. The first one was out in Hamilton, 43-6. The Ticats won that one. But back in Winnipeg, the Bombers pulled it off 38-33. This is the 3rd matchup of the year. Kahari Jones, healthy and ready. So are his Bombers. They need this one badly. Of course, so do the Tabbies. Kickoff is coming up.
We're gonna kick back, relax, watching football on a Friday night. It's Friday, and we're gonna be hard to take. It's Friday, from coast to coast, the CFL is Canada's game. Well, we're all pumped up to party, and we're ready for a fight. Come on, kick back, relax, watch some Friday night football. Boys, it's too bad, playing CFL football. King is up for grabs. It's Friday night football tonight.
Winnipeg, Manitoba, where they're all on their way into Winnipeg Stadium for the Bombers and the Ticats on Adidas Friday Night Football. Hey folks, how are you? James Duffy along with the prophets of pigskin, the Freuds of football, my three wise men, Eric Tillman, Matt Dunnigan, and Chris Schultz. And you know, earlier this year, a little story for you. You know, Matt Dunnigan once in a while has to call a few games, he goes into the booth. Without him, we are lost in here. I am frazzled. Chris and Eric are on the verge of tears. The lesson in all this, you need a quarterback. We know how the Ticats have felt the last few weeks, but they do get Danny McManus back tonight. Of course, I suppose there are 38 other guys dressed tonight, and Danny McManus is not a one-man show.
That's right, and it doesn't matter who's behind the center. You got to go out there and play your individual positions. Danny Mac, and Dickin, and Bankhead, they can't block, they can't catch, and they can't run the football. His teammates have to do that. No matter who's quarterbacking, the Hamilton Tiger Cats need to play football. Good, solid, fundamental football. I hadn't seen that in the last week. I saw a lot of people run out of bounds. I saw missed tackles. I saw poor blocking. The Hamilton Tiger Cats need to look themselves in the mirror, and I'm sure they have, and they're chomping at the bit to come back out here and prove that they're a good football team no matter who's behind the center.
Yeah, and one thing Winnipeg knows for sure now that they know that Danny McManus is going to play, they know Danny McManus is not going to beat them running the football. So, hey, Dave, I got a suggestion. Why don't you just rush 3, drop 9, disrupt the passing lanes, the timing on the routes, and try to create some mistakes. Try to force Hamilton to have turnovers. The other thing, I think you've got to stop Archie Amerson. Don't let that guy beat you. He's a big play waiting to happen. Lock Jerron Bolden on him, take him out of the game, and then make them beat you otherwise. But you know what? It's going to be a fun game to watch, Chris, and we're just guessing.
No, that is true. Like the Gerard Bolden-Amerson matchup is key, but there's a little sideshow here, too. A few weeks ago, last week, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers lost Antonio Armstrong, one of the top linebackers, number 5 in tackles. He had 71 tackles. They're going to miss him. What kind of player was he? Sideline to sideline, accelerating the ball, makes a collision. Great linebacker. Well, the GM, Brendan Taman, you know what? He signed Lamar McGriggs. What kind of football player is he? Sideline to sideline, accelerate to the ball, and make the tackle. He's a good one. Sometimes your approach to football game is professional. Sometimes it's a little personal. I wouldn't be surprised if Lamar McGriggs made a big play tonight, because I think this is a personal thing for him against his former team, the Hamilton Ticats.
Should be a battle, and indeed, Danny McManus, when he went down, they were in first place since then. They've lost 3 in a row, including the game he got hurt in, and have dropped 4 points behind the Alouettes. But Danny Mac is back, and you'll see him in action when we return. Kickoff coming up.
He makes his living making life miserable for quarterbacks. Joe Monfort is the best in the business. Archie Amerson has emerged as Hamilton's biggest threat every time he touches the ball.
It'll be Jerron Bolden's job to shut down Archie Amerson. He did it once. Can he do it again? And Milt Stiegel is the Bombers' deep threat. You don't want to be in too many one-on-ones against him.
With 3 weeks to go, the Blue Bombers begin their playoff run tonight at Winnipeg Stadium. Simply put, win 3, and Winnipeg is in after a roller coaster season in the CFL. It is a little nippy in Winnipeg tonight, but not all that bad. Overall, it's 3 degrees Celsius, a light breeze out of the northwest at 9.
Until now, Ron Lancaster had never lost 3 in a row as the head coach of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That is exactly where their losing streak sits right now. The Ticats are desperate for a win tonight.
Dave Ritchie, in his second season in Winnipeg, has had more downs than ups so far this year. There is hope, though, if his Bombers limit their mistakes tonight. And if they do, they can play with any team in the league. October 20th, not a bad evening for football in Winnipeg Stadium. Blue Bombers won the toss and have elected to kick off to the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Danny McManus will play and start in this football game like we talked about throughout the pregame show, and they did a pretty nice job of keeping it quiet, though, until about 5-10 minutes
before
ago.
Game time, yeah. Archie Amerson is deep. Along with Jeff Johnson, we're underway in Winnipeg. This is Archie Amerson. Hammered out near the 35-yard line, and the return is limited to 16 yards. Danny McManus is back after 2.5 games on the sidelines, and this is a huge lift for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Hamilton's whole offense has struggled in the last 3 weeks. Darren Flutie, Ron Williams, Archie Amerson have to make some big plays tonight. The Hamilton offensive line still the CFL's best at protecting their quarterback. Starting lineups brought to you by Midas, your auto service experts. Ronald Williams gets his hands on the football, and he's across the 35 to about the 36.
Well, defensively for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they've had to make some adjustments up front. Troy Bailey is out of the lineup. Darren McField gets his third start in that defensive line. In the secondary, it'll be up to Jerron Bolden, will be the extra defensive back to shut down Archie Amerson. He lines up as a starting corner, but he'll move around with Archie Amerson all night long.
The gain was 2. This is 2nd and 8. McManus goes to the shotgun, and the play is whistled down. Dave Ewell in charge of proceedings at Winnipeg Stadium tonight.
Illegal procedure. Hamilton 67. Still 2nd down.
Gary Brown, big Gary Brown, legal procedure. They have to get back used to the snap cadence from Danny McManus. They haven't heard his voice for 2 weeks.
I'm sure McManus will be a little bit rusty as he starts for the first time in 2 weeks. 19 touchdowns. The interesting note, 26 interceptions. And this is the guy that's been waiting to get back and quarterback this team. But he is a leader, and he has a rocket for an arm. Missed that time, going deep for Corey Grant.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting talking to Ron Lancaster. I think it took them 2 weeks to figure out that Danny McManus had a hamstring. And that's what they were more laughing about. They said when it happened, they went to the sideline and said, you injured your what? You don't have a hamstring. You don't run enough to have a hamstring.
Well, Lancaster didn't know he had one until he was plus 40. And he was playing in a slow pitch game back in Ancaster, Ontario, and pulled his then.
Yeah.
That was the first time he felt the pain of a hamstring.
Officially, it's a strain. It's been 3 weeks, and obviously he's good to go. We just saw him throw that deep one.
Yeah, those two quarterbacks are not necessarily known as thoroughbreds, are they, when you look at their stature and everything. Taken at the 30. Albert Johnson. Flag is down. Albert Johnson, the third, is down after a 4-yard gain. Kahari Jones has been playing well in his last 3 games. He has 4 explosive receivers, and this combination is outstanding. Robert Gordon, Milt Stegall, Geroy Simon, and Albert Johnson III. There's one new face up front, and that's big Eddie Blake at right guard.
Between Gary Brown for Hamilton and Eddie Blake for Winnipeg, you've got the 2 biggest heads in Canadian football.
Well, Blake couldn't get in the lineup for a couple of weeks because they couldn't find a helmet big enough to fit him.
Absolutely.
Penalty against the Bombers on the return for an illegal block. So Winnipeg has moved back near the 20. Corey Philpott for a couple.
Well, the tackles will be on Eddie Blake and Dave Mudge today because they're going to have to try and shut down the best sacker in the game in Joe Mumford. 17 so far on the season and 7 forced fumbles. In the secondary, Gerald Vaughn playing his 4th game for the Hamilton Tiger Cats at halfback.
He's terrific, isn't he?
Just a very physical defensive back that'll be in charge of trying to check Milt Stegall.
We'll watch that one for you. One of the key matchups in this one tonight on 2nd and 8. Harry Jones steps up, and he's got Stegall. There's a flag down back near the line of scrimmage, but Stegall has plenty of yards for a first down if it goes against Hamilton.
And I think it will. It's right in that holding area. Just which one of the Winnipeg offensive linemen are holding.
Winnipeg number 57.
There you go.
Down repeated.
Brett McNeil.
So a nice gain wiped out for the Bombers.
Well, the pressure's on that offensive line, no question, because if they can give Kahari Jones some time, he does have so many great weapons. When you look at the receiving corps for Winnipeg, Milt Stegall, Robert Gordon, Geroy Simon, and Albert Johnson III, watch out. Any one of those guys can get in behind you.
And the pressure is on this offensive line from a solid Hamilton front 7. A group that didn't play all that well last week in the loss to the Argonauts. The defense had some struggles last time. Deep drop for Kahari Jones, comes to the near side and is well off the mark.
Well, you know, penalties have right now the Winnipeg Blue Bombers the most penalized team in Canadian football, and 35 of their penalties this season, which works out to be just over 2 per game. are offside penalties that get him in trouble right off the start in the beginning of a drive.
Troy Westwood doing double duty for the Blue Bombers as the punter as well for the rest of the season. Barely got that one away. With Bob Cameron out of the lineup. Here's Amerson, and there's a marker down. Westwood is down at the 2-yard line. And I think it's going against the Tiger Cats for contacting the kicker.
Roughing the kicker, major foul, Hamilton 39.
He'll take the hit for that.
Sure, and that gives the Bombers the ball back. The break they need. I was going to finish the thought on the penalties. The Bombers, 25 of them are holding calls. That's what got them in trouble, but they got a penalty from the Hamilton Tiger Cats to give them the ball back. It's contacting the kicker on Troy Westwood. No question he got hit. 2 steps, and it's Vaughn right there who's blocked a couple of kicks.
3, in fact. Not close enough there. He thought he would have gotten away with it, but
have to touch the football. You have to touch the football if you're going to get that close and hit the kicker, and he didn't.
So a free set of downs for Kahari Jones. Stiegel couldn't hang on, had it, turned to run, and it slipped away.
Well, pretty good coverage over there from the Hamilton defense anyway. If Stiegel catches that, unless he can make 3 or 4 guys miss, he's
not much room at all.
He's looking at a 2 or 3 yard gain, but Stiegel looked fired up for this game. I watched him in warm-up, and he had a good bounce to his step. More so than normal, which is...
What you're going to say is he's got nice bounce.
He's got good bounce. And he's the choreographer of the dance team. So we'll see if they can get to the end zone.
Another flag down. Jones got it away, and a solid hit from Mike O'Shea on Milt Stiegel. The gain is 7 yards. We'll check out the infraction. Tiger Cats jumped early.
You know, it's going to be a tough night, though, for the Winnipeg offense. No question about it. This is a Hamilton defense that is ranked #1 in the league.
Offside, Hamilton 53. 2nd down repeated.
So Joe Montford got the early start there.
When you look at them against the run, they're giving up less than 100 yards a game, 89. Against the pass, less than 300 at 245. Both ranked #1 in the league against the run and against the pass. So it will not be easy. Winnipeg will have to earn everything they get.
Bombers look at 2nd and 5. Swing pass to Stiegel, sneaking out of the backfield. Had to reverse and looks for a block. And O'Shea comes up to make the tackle again and save a 1st down. Kahari Jones hesitated on
wise
putting
decision,
a block
I
on
think.
O'Shea.
Yeah, wise decision, and I'm sure Dave Ritchie will go over there and just say, hey, Kahari, that's a good decision to make. Don't go throw your head in there in a linebacker. You're going to see Kahari Jones come out to the outside after Milt Stiegel reverses his field. He's going to take about 4 steps and then just stop. He's to the right of your screen. He backed right out of the picture. He said, no, I'm not even getting there.
Thought about it for a second, then checked out the number and thought better of it. Decent punt for Westwood. Archie Amerson at the 32. And he's wrestled down near the 39. 7 on the return. No score in Winnipeg. It's Adidas Friday Night Football.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN is brought to you in part by Adidas. By Molson Canadian. I am Canadian. And by 3M Filtrate air cleaning filters. Breathe the difference.
Danny McManus back in the lineup for the Tiger Cats. Gets a 2nd crack at it here. Beginning this time with a little better field position out near the 40-yard line.
Well, you talk about the lift that Danny McManus gives this football team. It doesn't just happen on the offensive side of the football. It also happens on defense. So in that defense, you look the way they played the last 2 games when the backups have been in there, Todd Bankhead and Billy Dickin. That defense has stopped playing as well as they had early in the year.
Well, in game 1 against the Argos, the defense was spectacular.
Absolutely. In game 2,
the defense let down too. And all phases of football last week against Toronto, the Tiger Cats were on the wrong side. Offense, defense, and special teams. So the Argos full value for that win. McManus puts it up. Flutie can't make the catch, but a flag comes down on the coverage by Tom Europe.
Well, the timing looked pretty good. Tom Europe came out of the middle of the field, hit Darren Flutie coming across the middle, And it looked to me that the timing was pretty good on the hit.
Forward pass interference. Winnipeg 13. First
It's
down.
the left arm. You see that left arm? The hit was fine, but he had his left arm around Darren Flutie's waist.
So you're saying good call?
Well,
or you're saying close call?
It's a close call. It's a good call when you look at the rule book. That's pass interference in the rule book.
Well, basically,
I'd take it out of the rule book, though, if
you're on the fence. Greg was the target that time, and McManus missed him by at least 10 yards.
Well, Brandon Hamilton wants a call now. He thought he was interfered with going after the football, and I'm not sure he doesn't have an argument. He went down the sideline. He had a chance to go for the interception. He was tripped up. It was incidental contact, but he went down and couldn't get that football. That was an interception if he could keep his feet.
2nd and 10. Tiger Cats. McManus has time and fired short. Flutie was the closest Tiger Cat receiver. Now he got a little heat.
Yeah, he gets a little bit of pressure, has to get this ball away. And talking to the offensive lineman for the Hamilton Tiger Cats before the game, are they ever happy to get the quick release of Danny McManus back in? He takes a little bit of a hit from Brian Clark. That's when you really start to test out the hamstring. You take a hit and you have to brace yourself.
Osbaldiston is off to a good start with a 49-yarder. Albert Johnson III waits back near the Bomber 15. Ozzie takes him deep, back to the 10. And he's wrapped up by the first man down. That's Rob Hitchcock. Still no score. Winnipeg, Sedita's Friday Night Football. Glad you could be with us. Bombers in a battle for the playoffs with a couple of teams as it stands right now, including the Argonauts, who are home to the Eskimos tomorrow night. Tickets are available by calling this number, and it's quite a story that Mike Clemens has written with the Argonauts over the past couple of weeks.
Well, both teams coming off big wins. Edmonton against Calgary, and of course Toronto versus Hamilton.
Basically 4 teams in the run for the final 2 playoff spots, including Toronto and Winnipeg. Harry Jones just missed Jeroy Simon. Well, what to watch for tonight?
Well, first of all, for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Danny Mac's back. You got to protect him. Make sure you protect that hamstring and hope that he doesn't re-injure it and you lose him for the playoffs. For the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they got to keep throwing the ball deep. 13 passes over 40 yards this year. They've got the weapons to do it. They just got to give Kahari Jones some time. And hey, it's playoff time basically, especially for Winnipeg. It's a 1-point lead on Toronto for the 3rd spot in the East.
Yeah, BC and Saskatchewan, the other 2 teams, still battling to grab a playoff spot. 2nd and 10 for Kahari Jones, and he was high that time.
Well, both offenses have really struggled early in this football game. Danny McManus doesn't look quite as sharp, and that's justifiable when you haven't played in 2.5 games. And Kahari Jones also struggling a little bit.
Well, Kahari Jones played very well last week in the 2nd and 4th quarters, but he struggled in the 1st and 3rd, and as a result, the Bombers were well behind the Alouettes in Montreal going into the 2nd quarter.
Yeah, the one thing that both offenses haven't done in this game yet is established any sort of running game to get some balance. Winnipeg hasn't used Corey Philpott, and Hamilton really hasn't used Ron Williams.
Westwood's kick is not deep, coming down near the 50, and it's taken by Corey Grant. The return is just 3 yards. The punt only traveled 33. So the Bombers are definitely missing their ace kicker, Bob Cameron, who's out for the rest of the season with a back problem.
But has been assured by Dave Ritchie that if he wants his job next year,
it's his.
It's his, and Dave Ritchie will not cut Bob Cameron. He'll have to decide to leave the game on his own.
Well, he was hoping to get back and will be working with the Bombers on the sidelines. I think he'd be a great coach in this league at some point in time. He knows the game inside and out.
The last 10 years, he basically was a player coach.
Ticats come away with solid field position at the 45. Ronald Williams has room to the outside, and And he's finally run down by the middle linebacker, Ryland Wickman.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, establishing a running game and getting the balance from your offense. Winnipeg hasn't done it, and Hamilton hadn't done it until this. Ron Williams breaks to the outside. Now that defensive front for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and I'm talking about linebackers and D-linemen, have to respect that he may get the ball again. And if he does, he may be able to rip off another big run like that.
He's really killed the Bombers since he was traded to the Hamilton Tiger Cats in '98. 15 touchdowns in games against his old team. Another carry for Ronald Williams, and this is close to another first down, depending on where they spot the ball.
Well, they were in a double tight end set there, something you don't see very often from Hamilton, who are usually playing with one back, Ron Williams being the only back, and having Archie Amerson as the 5th receiver. That time they went with a double tight end set, pounded it in there for 9 yards. Little old-fashioned football there from Ron Lancaster.
Well, he's seen it all. There's no question about that. I don't know if he was around for the single wing.
He was around when they invented the forward pass, wasn't he?
That was the year before he got here, I think. Williams again, 3 straight carries, and this time the Bombers stand him up on 2nd and 1.
Now, where was his forward progress?
That's the key right now.
They may have to take a measure on that. Ryland Wickman came right up the hole and did a pretty nice job of stuffing it. But did Ron Williams have first down yardage and then get pushed back?
Well, that's the question.
They're going to bring the chains out and take a look.
Measure it here. Didn't make much at all, did he?
Winnipeg defense has struggled through the air. They played pretty well against the run all season long. They're ranked 3rd in the league. They give up just over 100 yards a game. So the run stopping has not been their problem.
Well, they'll need another big play here because the Tiger Cats are going for it on 3rd and 1. A couple of big guys in there. McManus up under the center, and Danny McManus has the first down himself. Little problem there.
Well, that was a 1-yard plunge by Danny McManus, but that will be a play that tests out that hamstring.
Out of that scrum down there, flags are flying. So it's after the play. There was some rough stuff going on in there.
It tests out the hamstring because he has to take that ball and really plant his foot and drive off it and push behind his offensive line. And he looks fine. He didn't even reach for it. So that's a good test to see whether or not it's okay.
Unnecessary roughness. Hamilton 24. It was after the play. First down was gained. It will be a first down.
So they get the first down, the Ticats, but lose some yardage. And Ron Williams in a bit of a fight in that scrum after the fact.
Closer look at what happened at the bottom of that pile. Oh, wasn't at the bottom of the pile at all. It was a kidney punch. So the Tiger Cats get the first down, as Glenn mentioned, but the ball will be moved back close to the 30 at the 28-yard line.
Remember, one of the newcomers in that Winnipeg defense is Lamar McGriggs, former Hamilton Tiger Cat.
And here's a former Bomber taking off again. Ronald Williams has been busier than usual, and again, they go after each other.
And there's Lamar McGriggs right in the middle of things.
Mihalik may
So
get
now
caught.
Mihalik's going to get caught again, I believe, on Brandon Hamilton. And they're starting to lose their cool here in a hurry. Hamilton was very upset after they released Lamar McGriggs. He said some things in the paper about the football team. They were coming in looking for him a little bit. Mike Mihalik was chasing him down, and Lamar McGriggs was right in the middle of that fight.
So there are 4 flags down there.
And you know he wants to have a huge game after being released earlier by the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Now Mihalik came in a little bit late. He may be in more trouble than anyone down there. There were 2 disqualifications last week in Montreal. Stiegel for the Bombers and Kelly Wilshire from the Alouettes.
Talked about Winnipeg being a team that has struggled with penalties. Told you they were good majority of their 174 penalties this year have been ones they shouldn't have committed.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Winnipeg number 40.
That's Benny Goods.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Hamilton 68.
That's
Rough
David
play,
Hack.
disqualification,
Whoa.
Hamilton 66.
Oh.
What did I tell you?
Well, he was the third man in. Mike Mihalik is out of this game. And he was the one who threw the punch on Brandon Hamilton at the very end of it. Well, here's the big fight. Lamar McGrave's right in the middle of it, number 36. Okay, there's the late hit from Benny Goods. He gets the flag for that one, number 40. And right in the middle is Mihalik, number 66. He throws Brandon Hamilton and then gives him another right to the ear.
Yeah, it's the right cross that he gets tossed out of the game for.
And he heads to the showers early. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats are going backwards. This drive was inside the 25-yard line. They now have the ball on Winnipeg's 51. And that's what frustrates Ron Lancaster more than anything. He loses Mike Mihalik, and he also loses a ton of yardage on a drive that he should be in scoring range right now.
Yeah, now they're right out of field goal range at this point, and they were definitely in Ozzy's range when they started.
Second and 33 is not many plays for that, and there's going to be another flag.
Flutie is open, makes the catch, took a hit from Brandon Hamilton, and is hammered down.
See, there's plays.
He should have very close to a first down. Sorry.
There's plays for 32 yards, but not many for 33.
And they got 31 there.
There's a few plays in the book for 32, but you know what? Who knew? They were either offside or Winnipeg was offside. They're sorting that one out because there was a flag right on the snap. I think by the reaction of Danny McManus, is going against Hamilton.
Yeah, he doesn't believe the call.
Illegal procedure, no end, Hamilton.
Oh, boy.
Offside, Winnipeg 48, second down repeated.
So 2 more penalties, and that's the 11th penalty call of the game.
Wow.
Where are we? Halftime yet? What have you got for second and 38 from your own 54?
Well, you can't go with that 32-yard throw to Darren Flutie. You need more than that. You know, and basically what you want to do is stop the bleeding and punt the ball if you have to.
But even coming up short on the play to Flutie, they were back in field goal range.
Yeah, well,
the other penalty takes them all the way back to the 51 again. Underthrown. And the heat was coming to McManus. He unloaded in a bit of a hurry. Here you go. Both quarterbacks have goose eggs up there right now.
Not completed a pass that counted. Danny McManus completed one, didn't count.
Kahari Jones completed one that didn't.
You know, the Hamilton Tiger Cats throughout this year have been pretty good in the penalty department. They ranked second in the league. They don't commit a whole bunch of penalties, but they sure did on that drive.
Osbaldiston's kick is ugly. Looked a little more like Rugger out there for a moment or two. It's Adidas Friday Night Football, live from Winnipeg.
The virtual first down line is brought to you by Molson Canadian. I am Canadian.
No points on the board, plenty of penalties so far in Winnipeg. 12 in total, 7 by the Tiger Cats, and Lancaster was on the sidelines ripping his offense a second or two ago. Right now, Kahari Jones looks for his first completion of the night here at Winnipeg Stadium. Corey Philpott run to the outside, and it's a big first down for the Bombers out near the 35.
Yeah, again, just like the Hamilton Tiger Cats did in their last series before the penalties. Get the running back involved. For the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, of course, it's Corey Philpott, little toss play, and it's an easy completion for a quarterback to turn around and toss it to his tailback, and Corey Philpott picks up the first down. Now they have a little balance and can throw the ball with more success.
Albert Johnson III comes to the near side, flank wide left. Simon joins him. Philpott to the other side this time, and he's got about 4. Chris Schelling made the tackle.
They're real excited about the way Kahari Jones has played. He's played pretty well the last 3 weeks, and when you consider that Kahari Jones has thrown just 1 interception during that time, that's where you see that the development is there, that he's starting to get better every game, make good decisions with the football, and not throw it to the wrong colored jersey. 1 interception in his last 3 games for Kahari Jones.
Yeah, and 8 touchdowns, so that's nice ratio going for him lately. Correction on the gain, it was only 1 2nd and 9. Kahari Jones puts it up. He's got Stiegel, big yards, and yards after the catch as well, out to the 45. First completion of the night that will count for Kahari Jones, and it nets 26 yards.
It all starts up front with pretty good protection, and what the Winnipeg Blue Bombers want to do is just put big on big, they call it, and that's just block Mo Elewanibi on Joe Mumford for the most part of this game. Kahari Jones needs time to be able to throw this football, and he puts it right through the eye of the needle there to get it into Milt Stiegel. But watch what they're going to do. Toronto tried to double team Mumford. Winnipeg feels that they can just have Mo Elewanibi take care of him, and he does it on that play, giving Kahari Jones time to throw.
First 2nd down conversion for the Bombers, and here's another completion. Chance for the touchdown. He can't quite escape. Robert Gordon made the catch and almost broke it into the end zone.
Oh, I love the throw, too, from Kahari Jones. He just, with the flick of her wrist, there's a post pattern right there by Robert Gordon. He gets Kevin Brooks all turned around. You see Kevin Brooks turn the wrong way.
Lucky he held on to the sweater, or Gordon would have been in.
The throw from Kahari Jones was unbelievable, turning to his left and just with a flick of the wrist through a post pattern. The leading receiver for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Robert Gordon, and that's saying something when you have Milt Stiegel as a teammate.
Bombers are 1st and goal to go from the Tiger Cat 9. Jones buys a little time, looks deep. He's got it. Robert Gordon, touchdown.
There's the dance. Milt Stiegel. Milt Stiegel is the choreographer.
Yeah, he's
for
the
dance
Bob
team.
Fosse of the dance team.
And so, in his nickname, he calls himself Turtle Man or something, so I guess that's the Funky Turtle. We'll call that dance.
Well, apparently they work on a new one every week, and unfortunately last week we didn't get to see it.
Right, because Montreal Alouettes kept breaking it up, and that's what all that fighting was about. But they said they're going to dance. Dave Ritchie, although doesn't necessarily agree with the whole concept, says, hey, if the fans like it, let them do it, and let's play.
Well, the players claim it's for the fans, and if it is for the fans and can be done quickly and adds a little enthusiasm in the ballpark, I don't really have a big problem with it either. Bombers have the first touchdown, and it's converted by Troy Westwood, but there's a penalty marker down. Robert Gordon has his 6th touchdown of the season.
Offside. Hamilton's defensive line. Single point stands. Penalty applied on the kickoff.
The whole line was offside. One of those nights for the Ticats already. Blue Bombers have the first touchdown of the night at Winnipeg Stadium.
Well, Kahari Jones has great composure. He's looking all over the field for a receiver. He can't find one, steps up, and finally Robert Gordon breaks open on Kevin Brooks again. Had them all turned around one more time.
And Jones got hammered.
Well, this is when he steps up into the pocket, and there's a lot of bullets when you step up in there, and Michael O'Shea put him down so that Kahari Jones didn't even see that one go in the end zone and was caught by Robert Gordon.
Bombers ready for the kickoff.
But he could hear the fans cheering.
He knew what happened.
Absolutely.
Nice quick drive by the Blue Bombers after a slow start for both. This is Jeff Johnson, slowed by the first man, and another penalty is down. Another penalty flag is down, I should say. 11 yards on the return. Could have been a face mask in there. What do you think?
I think there's a lot of penalties so far in this game.
holding Hamilton number 59.
We'll call
First down.
Call that drive for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers the Robert Gordon drive, because he made the 2 big catches, one for a touchdown, one on the post pattern.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Hey, that number 4 is playing
5 plays, a couple of big ones from Robert Gordon.
Yeah, Stiegel made a nice catch on the drive as well.
And we saw the funky turtle.
And it was very quick. 5 plays to cover 87 yards. Penalty is against the Tiger Cats. That's the 14th penalty of the evening. And Hamilton, as a result, starts at the 15. McManus on the money and close to first down territory. Flutie has the catch, and that's the first completion for Flutie.
Well, first one for Danny McManus, that'll count.
Yeah. First catch for Flutie, first completion for McManus.
The hamstring looks fine. That's the good news for Hamilton. Their offense doesn't. That's the bad news.
This is second and less than a yard. McManus good on 1 of 5. Ronald Williams has run well and has the first down with almost 10 yards to spare.
Yeah, Ronald Williams is really starting to establish himself a little bit in this football game. He was the guy who got him going and got him down into field goal range earlier, but 4 or 5 penalties in a row pushed him out of it.
First play against the Blue Bombers on September 23rd. Williams took it 70 yards for the touchdown. And the Tiger Cats won that one with ease. Bombers won an earlier meeting, so this is game 3 in the season series. Here's Williams again. Nice tackle from behind by Harold Nash, and the gain will be 4 yards.
Yeah, well, the last time these 2 teams played, Williams 150 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns.
Ticats will have a first down, or will be short of a first down when we return to Adidas Friday Night Football.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN at the quarter.
James Duffy and the boys back at TSN Control, and there's a Tyson Galata fight a little bit later on tonight. I was aware there was an undercard. I wasn't aware that this was the undercard. All sorts of funny stuff going on there in the first quarter. Does a team have a game plan to come in and try to entice the other team to get in a scrap, maybe?
It's not so much a game plan, but it is a part of the football game, going in there and trying to entice the other team to get off their football game. It's a situation where Winnipeg Blue Bombers, hey, I think that they went into this situation. I think Elfrid Payton, he's great at doing it. He can simply flat out entice somebody to do something wrong. And here we see him get out to Muzica, and then Ronald Williams takes exception to it, and then he gets flagged. This is the start of the fight. This is the start of the animosity, and then it happens from here, Chris.
Right, in phase 2 here. Look at Benny Goods. He whacks a guy from the backside. I think that was worse than what Mike Mihalik does here. He pushes a little bit, and then he takes his right hand and just pushes him away from him. He's defending his territory.
Yeah, Chris.
You know, they had offsetting penalties, right? They had one guy 15 yards, another guy 15 yards. I don't think Mike Mihalik should have been thrown out of the game at all.
Chris, I disagree with you. I think it shows a lack of poise, a lack of discipline. Why take the risk in the first place? Tell me why. Why put it in the hands of the official? You can't afford, with only 6 offensive linemen, if he goes down, now if they lose another offensive lineman, they have to take Danny Mack out of the game. Why take the risk, Mike Mihalik?
Okay, this discussion will go on. We'll hope these guys won't come to blows. We have to get back to Winnipeg for second quarter action right now. It is the Bombers up 7-0. Hamilton killing themselves with penalties, including a couple of the ones we just discussed. Let's send it back to John Wells and Glenn Suter.
Welcome back to Winnipeg. Overall, a wacky first quarter of football, but the Bombers looked exceptionally sharp on the drive that got them the touchdown for Robert Gordon.
Yeah, and what you have to remember, I think, is that these are 2 teams that just may meet in the Eastern semifinal.
Pretty good bet.
And, you know, they want to establish something right now. So for that playoff game, they say, hey, we're going to come in and play aggressive football. Now, it's cost Hamilton more than it's cost Winnipeg in the penalty department, but they're trying to set the tone right here tonight.
And guess what? We're in Winnipeg, and it's Adidas Friday Night Football. Good crowd on hand. Not all Bomber fans, obviously. Tiger Cats are looking at 2nd and 6 to begin the second quarter. Ball near the 40, high snap. McManus got it down and completes it to Darren Flutie. That'll be a first down for the Tiger Cats.
Well, the timing's coming back, and if there's going to be a receiver that Danny McManus will throw to get the timing back, it's going to be Darren Flutie. Because Darren Flutie was covered by Dave Donaldson when he broke out there. Got about a yard step on him, and that's right when the ball arrived.
Second completion for McManus. Same target, Flutie, good for 10 yards. So Hamilton is now out near the 50. McManus sprints a little to the far side, and wide open, Flutie again.
Well, there you go. There's a look at that hamstring. Looked pretty good on that little sprint out.
Did I overemphasize it by saying sprint?
Yeah, he got outside.
Right.
He got outside. But this is, take a look at the hamstring. Hamstring looks okay here. Little play action to Ron Williams. That is about as fast as Danny McManus runs. So that's full speed for him. That looks all right to me.
Gain is 21 yards. Ticats are finally on a bit of a roll now inside the Winnipeg 40 at the 38. 4 receiver set. And Ronald Williams got the call more than halfway to a first down. He crashes across the 30 for an 8-yard gain.
Well, after a quarter of play, Winnipeg has the edge from that one drive that was capped off by Robert Gordon's touchdown. That was 87-yard drive, so most of that yardage came on that drive. And some rushing yards for Ronald Williams as we saw him here in the second quarter pound some more yards up inside. So starting to establish Ron Williams, and they're playing that tight end set again.
Now the Tiger Cats are in the midst of their most impressive drive of the night. Williams got hammered. Second effort gets him close, but I don't think he quite got the first down. Well, maybe he did.
I think it depends on where they spot the ball, but you mentioned that second effort. I think he rolled over that line, or they'd be very close.
Well, they've rolled it back just a little bit here, Glenn, so
yeah. Well, you know,
it will require a measurement.
Just wonder how long they can stick with this tight end set with Mike Mihalik out of the game. He was tossed out in the first quarter, in case you're just joining us. There's your first down. But it thins out that offensive line. Ron Williams well on his way to 100 yards already.
Yeah, it's pretty nice opening quarter and a bit.
You know, like I mentioned, 150 the last time these two teams played. He was the difference when Hamilton beat Winnipeg. Of course, this is the rubber match between the two teams because Winnipeg has already beat Hamilton once as well.
McManus on first down, wide open receiver far side, and Andrew Grigg flat out dropped it. Oh. He was waiting for that one over there.
He was, but he looked upfield. He looked to where he was going to run, and you hear it 100 times. It happens at every level, including the pro level. The fundamentals of the game of football. Securing the catch as a receiver before you start to run, and that's all that Andrew Grigg did. He just had to wait for this one to come all the way over there, and once it did, he turned his head right there, lost concentration on the football, and it hits the ground.
2nd and 10, Tiger Cats trailing the Bombers 7-0. Just nicely in to the second quarter. Here comes the heat, rushes on McManus. The touchdown toss was almost there, and Grigg was the target.
We talked about the matchup between Archie Amerson and Jerome Bolden. In the game that Winnipeg won, this was the matchup that they won because Jerome Bolden took Archie Amerson out of that game. He had just 2 catches in that game for 22 yards. That was earlier in the year. He's doing the same thing tonight. We haven't said Archie Amerson's name just yet. And he did a good job against the BC Lions as well.
I mentioned him in the starting lineup.
Oh, okay. Okay, maybe just the once then. But he did a nice job against Alfred Jackson as well.
Osbaldison's first try of the night. He's on the money, and the Tiger Cats are on the scoreboard at Winnipeg Stadium. No penalty markers anywhere. We'll continue with Adidas Friday Night Football in a moment. Back live in Winnipeg for Adidas Friday Night Football. Ticats and the Blue Bombers. The return of Danny McManus. Key game for Winnipeg in the run for the playoffs in CFL 2000. Kickoff rolls out. Johnson had no play on it.
Kickoff rolls out. Instant field position for Kahari Jones.
Illegal kickoff. Hamilton number 3. Winnipeg first down.
I really like that rule.
Well, yeah, just make sure the kickers kick it inside the field of play, because it's a huge penalty. Most of the time you want, as a kickoff cover team, to keep a team inside the 30-yard line when you kick it off to them. Right now, Kahari Jones starts this drive on his 45-yard line.
Yeah, and that opens up a whole new world of options for him.
And you're 3 first downs away from field goal range, as opposed to 5.
Bombers with a first down. 3 receivers to the near side for Kahari Jones. And he goes to Corey Philpott off left tackle. The gain is 3. Philpott averages 4.3 yards a carry. 6 carries last week for just 19 yards. I guess partly because they got behind early and had to put the ball up a little bit more.
Absolutely. They were throwing the football quite a bit last week. Took it out of Corey Philpott's hands, but beat out George Jones about 6-7 games ago. Winnipeg haven't looked back in the running game since.
2nd and 8. Receiver open far side, and that'll be a Winnipeg first down to Robert Gordon. Nice toss from Kahari Jones.
What a breakout year Robert Gordon is having with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Just on pace for his best season in the Canadian Football League, and that's 9 of them and counting. This from the actor. He's an actor. Robert Gordon has been in all those football movies. Was in Any Given Sunday. Had a speaking part in that. I think it was on the cutting room floor, but he had a speaking part in it.
He's got a souvenir somewhere, I guess. Jones. Mazumoka. Miller to the 35.
How about that for a tendency breaker?
Wade Miller, the old linebacker.
Wade Miller, who is a special teams specialist, has played linebacker and is in the lineup tonight as a fullback to help blocking for Kahari. See him to the right of your screen right there? He's just going to slip out of the backfield. And this is something that the Hamilton Tiger Cats defensively would not expect at all. Kahari Jones to throw it out there to Wade Miller. It's a tendency breaker.
We weren't expecting it, obviously, either. But it is a first down for the Bombers. Now back to the regular runner, Corey Philpott, slashing around off left tackle. Brad Miller is just a terror on special teams. He led the CFL in special teams tackles last year. Has had some injury problems.
Now, he led that run up in there for Corey Philpott. Never knew he could catch the ball like that.
Philpott has 5, and this Bomber drive continues. First down, Winnipeg, inside the 10. Stiegel again.
And this is what a running game will do for you, because when you run into Corey Philpott a couple of times and you have success, now the linebackers start to think about it. Watch Michael O'Shea. He steps up. When he steps up, he doesn't give Chris Schelling any help. And that gives the throwing lane to Kahari Jones. Michael O'Shea was worried about the run. He steps up into the line, and he doesn't give his defensive halfback any help in the pass coverage. Milt Stiegel can get a lane.
18 yards for Stiegel, and the Tiger Cats are facing the Bombers. First and goal from the 10. There's the touchdown toss. It looked easy. Stiegel again.
Here goes the dance again. The funky turtle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shake, shake. Slide, slide, slide. Nice. All right.
Oh, the slide and then the bow.
Okay. Well, it was easy. It was easy because Chris Schelling fell down. It's hard enough to cover when you're on your feet. Certainly can't do it from your back.
Is good, and Milt Stiegel is into the end zone for the 13th time this season. Wide open. Touchdown, Winnipeg. drives for Blue Bomber touchdowns. This one, a 45-yarder, finished off here. Kahari Jones to Milt Stegall.
Here's a question for you. What is defensive back's #1 nightmare? One-on-one against Milt Stegall. He'll make you break your spat in a hurry or blow a tire, and that's exactly what happens to Chris Schilling, who goes down trying to cover him. He's going to have to go get retaped. Doesn't have any tape on his shoes right now. Maybe he should go spat him up.
Westwood takes it deep. Jeff Johnson across the 15 to the 20. Nice run for Johnson out across the 30. Another of the new Tiger Cats. Johnson out of York University. Outstanding rookie in the CIU in 1996. And here comes Danny Mack, hitting on 40%.
Yeah, slow start, but started to come on a little bit here in the second quarter. Not surprising that he started slowly after not playing. But this looks like a different team, and a team that has to regain some confidence after losing 3 straight. I mean, they look the same on defense. Defensively, they're not looking as confident as they had early in the year.
Well, there's no question number 14 has a huge impact on this football team, both sides of the ball. He is definitely its leader. And miscommunication there. McManus let it go in a hurry. Flutie was the intended receiver and couldn't catch up with it. Another marker is down on the field.
I think it's going against Hamilton again.
Holding Hamilton, number 51. First down repeated.
Time it was Carl Coulter's turn.
3 weeks to go in this CFL regular season. The Argos will play their third last game at home tomorrow night against the Edmonton Eskimos. Toronto beat Edmonton at Commonwealth. Can they do it again?
Well,
tomorrow night we'll find out.
If they're going to do it, they better stop the running game of Nealon Green.
Yeah, he was super last week.
Sure was.
Argos are on a nice little roll, though, with 2 wins in a row. Penalty against the Tiger Cats. It'll be 1st and 20. From the shotgun, here comes the heat. He had to unload in a hurry, and I don't think Williams had turned around in time to make a catch there.
Well, he didn't turn around in time. In fact, Ron Williams was looking up Darren McField, who was kind of cruising right in the mix there, and when he was looking at Darren McField, he never got his head around to find the football. Darren McField getting a chance to stop. There's Ron Williams. He's going to step up and look for that screen. When he looks up for that screen, see 92 working there. He's looking at 92 and he can't get away from him. McField gives him a little push at the end of that. Darren McField getting a chance for his 3rd start. #1 draft pick out of UBC, playing for Troy Bailey, who's gone for the year.
2nd and 20. Morreale has his first catch, but he's wrapped up well short of a first down. Grabbed in there by Tom Europe.
John, again, Archie Amerson not a factor in this offense for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and he simply has to get involved somehow. Danny McManus has to find a way to get him the football, simply because you look at their games. In the 7 losses, Archie Amerson averages 33 catches per game. In their 8 wins, that goes to 103. If he gets over 100 yards receiving, they win.
Osbaldiston, not deep, bouncing near the 45. Albert Johnson III is wrapped up by the first special teams tackler downfield. Solid tackle down there. Kahari Jones gets another drive. Winnipeg on top, 14-3.
The virtual first down line is brought to you by Molson Canadian. I am Canadian.
Great night for the Bombers' second last game at home in this regular season. Winnipeg with a solid start, or at least late in the first quarter, early in the second. The Bombers have looked pretty sharp on offense and put 2 touchdowns on the board.
Well, they're getting some help from that O-line in this second quarter. They're doing a nice job.
Kahari Jones goes deep, and it's almost intercepted. Vaughn had it for a moment and dropped it when he made contact with the Blue Bomber.
Yeah, Albert Johnson, I believe it was, who turned defensive back, because Gerald Vaughn had the best chance for the interception, a better chance than Albert Johnson had of catching the football. Albert Johnson turns into DB, and knocks it down. That's G. Roy Simon running the seam route. But I believe it was Albert Johnson that turns around, number 87, right there, plays defensive back and knocks the ball out of there.
Lon made a good play on the ball, though, didn't he?
Yeah, did he ever. 3 block punts this year in 4 games.
He's also recovered a couple of fumbles. Has just 1 interception. 2nd and 10. Jones looks to take off for the first time and took a pretty good hit from Sean Woodson.
Well, Eddie Blake did his job up front. The newcomer in the offensive line in for Rob Lazio. He was working on Jeff Cummins, number 61. And he just sort of puts him down on the ground right there and then falls on him. This is a big man. I mean, 323 pounds. In fact, they couldn't find him a helmet to fit him. He wears an 8 1/4. The biggest helmet they make is a 7 3/4. They couldn't find it. Now, he had one from the arena football. Gary Brown's the other guy with the big head. Now, he's got to be over 8 too. They can't find helmets for these guys.
Westwood sailed this one. Amerson back to the 5, and he slipped crossing the 15-yard line. 8 1/4, that'd be an umbrella for you.
8 1/4. Okay, so here's what they had to do. He gets to Winnipeg. They call the manufacturers and every single team in the National Football League and the CFL to find out if anyone has an 8 1/4 size helmet. Well, they don't make them. Okay, so he was playing arena ball with the New England Seawolf. They went into receivership and locked the doors, so his helmet was behind locked doors. They had to get a spy go in there, break the lock, go through the equipment to find his old helmet. Now, the problem was...
It's the wrong color.
It's the wrong color. They were baby blue. Well, that's not going to go with the gold. They had to get a car dealership here in town in Winnipeg to paint the big helmet at 8 1/4. That's how big his onion is.
Amerson here. Now, does the story go on any longer?
No.
Or is it just about over?
No, but Gary Brown for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, there's big Gary Brown. Now, that's a big onion, too. That's 2 of the biggest noodles in the Canadian football right there. Gary Brown for the Hamilton Tiger Cats and Eddie Blake for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Man, you say use your head on a play, that's a weapon.
This will be 2nd and 6. McManus lost the handle. Who's got the football? Bombers say they've recovered it. McManus had it just slip out of his fingers.
He really did, and I believe Darren McField comes up with the fumble recovery, and that's exactly who it was. You know, it slipped right out of his hands, and it slipped out at the bottom part of the throw. He hadn't even got it up over his shoulder. Darren McField catches it on the 1 hop. Big play for the UBC grad, 1st-round draft pick.
Yeah, number
2nd
two
pick overall.
Yeah.
Yep.
Getting a chance to play. Dave Ritchie says he's coming along, improving every time up.
Yeah.
He was rotating it and sharing the spot a little bit more, but injuries have given him a chance to at least start a couple of games.
1 sack on the season for Darren McField, and that's a big fumble recovery.
Turnover sets the Bombers up in the Tiger Cats 17. Winnipeg with 2 touchdowns on the board already. Markers are down as Kahari goes to make it 3. Kahari Jones for G. Roy Simon. But as mentioned, there were penalty flags down already, and I think this one will come back.
Yeah, there's penalties on the field, but Chris Schilling right now is being shelled.
Holding, Winnipeg 65. 1st down repeated.
So that's coming back, but Mo Elowanibi gets called in the holding, and that one's coming back. But Chris Schilling is having a problem covering, and it doesn't seem to matter who he's got here tonight. This time it's G. Roy Simon in the one-on-one. He tries to go for the jam, misses him, slips him into the inside, and then realizes that it was his man, takes off out there and just doesn't even get in the picture. So
this one is coming back, and this guy is shell-shocked.
Yeah, he's being shelled a little bit here. Needs to get a little bit of help from his safety, Rob Hitchcock, and play more of an outside technique.
1st and 20. Gets a lot of it back. Little screen pass to Corey Philpott for 14.
Well, the biggest improvement this season for Corey Philpott has been the fact that he hasn't put the ball on the ground as much. And this is a good catch in the open field. He squirts through, little one-on-one, always make the first guy miss. And that's not just any guy, that's Michael O'Shea. Makes him miss in the open field, picks up good yardage. He's just not fumbling like he did early in the season. That's why he earned the job. Dave Ritchie loves Corey Philpott.
They've been together before in BC in another life for both. 2nd and 6 for the Bombers. And there's another miscue.
You know, John, usually the Hamilton Tiger Cats...
Time count violation. Winnipeg 17.
Usually the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and most defenses for that matter, when they get down to this part of the field, they usually play man-to-man and send pressure. Right now, because so far Milt, Stiegel, Geroy, Simon, the rest of the receiving corps is really having their way with that Hamilton secondary right now. They're starting to play more zone. It's difficult to play zone defense when you're down on your own goal line.
A pile of penalties here tonight, 18 in all. It's Adidas Friday Night Football live from Winnipeg. Bombers with a chance to add more to that total.
Shop at Safeway.
At the half, the boys will be ready. And when you look at the picks that these guys have made this season, apparently it's Matt and James leading the way with Schultz and Tillman
now
bringing up the rear.
And I just want to plead to the guys like Matt, Chris Schultz, and Eric Tillman, please don't let James Duthie win that thing.
No, he would be insufferable.
Oh, no. That cannot happen.
I don't think he's actually picking them. I think his dog is making the picks. Tanner. Kahari Jones on the money. Touchdown, Winnipeg. Gordon has his 2nd of the game. Robert Gordon.
They have to pause the dance because Gordon got a little bit shooken up when he got hit across the middle to catch that touchdown. But I mentioned it earlier. When you play zone down there on the goal line, there's too many holes. That's why a lot of teams will play man-to-man when they get down there. And they're going to put the dance off till next time, because watch the hole that's going to be created right over the middle. That's a zone drop. Look at the hole. Right there it is. It's tough to play zone defense down at that end of the field.
Bombers take advantage of a turnover, and they have 3 touchdowns on the board. Robert Gordon has 2. And Gordon slightly shaken up after taking a hit, scoring the touchdown.
Now he's all right.
Yeah, apparently they cheered for him a little bit down there, and all of a sudden he forgot about his pain.
Now he's all right.
So not much has gone right for the Tiger Cats thus far tonight. They've taken too many penalties and been a little off on offense. Lancaster offering some advice to the officials.
Is that what we're going to call it, advice?
I think maybe just reminding them of a couple of rules.
Okay. And he says it's twice now it's happened, whatever he's talking about. It looked like the way he was throwing his arms around that it might have been something up in the line. He's saying his guys are being held probably. You haven't seen it twice.
Not deep, coming down near the 15. Jeff Johnson. Not much room. Well covered by Blue Bomber special teams. Robert Gordon has 7 touchdown receptions this season, 2 coming tonight.
And he's close to 100 yards receiving on the night. And his partner Milt Stiegel needs a couple more to catch him now. Veterans getting it done for Kahari Jones, and primarily in the 2nd quarter, because they started out slow in the 1st quarter.
Stiegel has the 1 touchdown catch.
Okay, there we go.
Ronald Williams.
Just got our medical report from the sideline from Robert Gordon himself.
So I think that must be true.
I'm all right.
He had the right number of fingers up for 2 touchdowns. So
he's all right. Are the Hamilton offensively and defensively, are they all right? That's a question Ron Lancaster's wondering about, and Danny McManus, as he tries to break the rust off.
Last time he had possession of the football, he lost the handle. Ticats lost the ball. Bombers scored a touchdown. Ronald Williams again. The ball is on the carpet. Bombers say they haven't.
Was he down?
Yeah, he might have been down there. We'll have to have a closer look at this. Well, seem to be changing up out there.
Well, in the blowout last week versus Toronto, Ron Williams had a key fumble early in that game that gave Toronto a whole ton of momentum. The flow of the linebackers, Brian Clark, Lamar McGriggs taking on Chris Burns. Well, they're not really arguing it.
No, I think they got the call right.
Now they're checking out Ron Williams. Also shaking up a little bit, so.
Tough couple of weeks for Ron Lancaster. Things were sailing along as almost per usual in Hamilton until Danny McManus went down, and then the horror show of 2 games against the Argonauts when McManus couldn't start after going out of the Montreal game. It's been a little frustrating in Hamilton with 2 rookie quarterbacks trying to get the job done. Tonight, more frustration, even though Danny McManus is back in the lineup. The Hamilton offense is not moving the football effectively as yet.
You can't keep Danny McManus down for long.
Still tending to the injury on the field. A quick timeouts in Winnipeg. On further review, this play looks a little more interesting here, and Ronald Williams still being taken care of down near the Tiger Cat 32-yard line.
And they were checking out, making sure that Ron Williams wasn't moving his head, which is not a good sign. That would indicate a back or a neck injury, and now signaling to the Winnipeg sideline, likely to get some assistance from them as well. Now he is moving his legs. You can see he went up over the top. Take one more look at the play for you. First of all, the call was a good call. The ground can't make you fumble, and that's where Ron Williams fumbled the ball when he hit the ground, and he hit the left leg. His left side of Ron Williams' head hit the left leg of Chris Burns as they went down.
Now the Bomber medical staff has moved out to have a closer look.
And again, he was moving his legs, which is a very good sign. And we've seen a few of these injuries very similar to this during the season. And every single time, the training staff for both teams, they'll do the exact same thing. And that is to be very careful, make sure they take all the precautions necessary, and make sure that they get the x-rays of the athlete, make sure he's okay. They don't want to.
And he did come down quite awkwardly there, so they have called for the ambulance.
Yeah, they don't want to take any chances with any type of neck or back injuries, obviously. So they'll make sure they take him to the hospital for x-rays, take a look at it, immobilize the head area so that he doesn't move at all, and be very careful with Ron Williams.
Now they're taking the ambulance right onto the playing surface to take the best possible care of Ronald Williams. A tough time for players and coaches on both teams any time something like this happens. Obviously his Tiger Cat pals are very concerned, but you know, on the other side of the field, the same feeling goes.
Oh, it's no question about it.
Opposition any given night.
It's always the reminder of the violence of football when you see that, and it affects both teams, and it affects all the players that are watching as well from their living rooms. It's a reminder of the violence of the game and what can happen, and what can happen quickly in the game of football. But Ron Williams was moving his legs. It looked like he was moving his arms. That's very good signs, and they'll just take him and get him x-rayed in the hospital.
Got the entire Blue Bomber medical staff out there, the doctors and the trainers as well. Anxious moments for all, obviously. Williams was on his way to a great evening, 10 carries for 71 yards.
You see the Bombers just getting together, a little prayer for Ron Williams. Obviously, everyone concerned for the athlete first, and then
the outcome later.
The outcome after that.
Obviously, fans in one corner of the stadium have a little better angle than we have if they're seeing something down there to applaud for.
Well, obviously tons of concern, and they're just going to be very, very careful with Williams.
Not much more we can really add at this point. There's
well,
very little we can see from our view here. That's the picture, the closest we can get to trying to hear or see a little something. So now some decisions are being made.
Well, it puts things in perspective in a lot of ways for every one of those guys down the field.
But you can see now that they do have him on the board and immobilized as well as they can. They'll lift that board onto the stretcher once he is secure.
See him lifted up his arms there to hold his hands together as they lift him up onto the stretcher and get him in the ambulance. And what they normally do, the coaching staff and the training staff will get out there. First of all, just check if he has feeling in all of his extremities. Make sure that he can move his arms, move his legs, wiggle his toes. You know, and sometimes you'll lose feeling in your legs, or you'll temporarily lose feeling in your arms, and it'll come back, and they'll just keep asking the question. And if there's any concern or any thought that it could be neck or back injury, then the guys go into the hospital for sure to be checked out. They just do not take any chances, obviously, with that kind of injury.
Obviously, it's very difficult to diagnose at this juncture for the medical staff down there too, because of the time element and how much time they have to make some kind of a medical judgment.
And while the coaching staff obviously have to figure out a way to replace Ron Williams for the rest of this game, their concern 100% is on the person and the athlete first. And Ron Williams went up over the pile, diving for extra yards like he often does. Let's show you one more time the injury. Ron Williams from the right of your screen, so he dives up over the pile, and right there he hits the left side of his head on the inside of the left leg of Chris Burns. His head sort of twisted around.
There was contact with the field.
No,
or at least that was not.
No, he went up and over.
Contact.
Went up and over, and his head hit Chris Burns' left leg. Now they got him up on the stretcher now. See how his legs are basically tied together, so he can't move at all and risk any further injury if in fact he has a back problem or a neck problem. Like we say, it's awful hard to diagnose from at this point, which is why he's going for x-rays.
Yeah, straight to the hospital. It's not well,
that's a good sign right
far.
there.
So he's moving his hands there.
Yeah, that's a great sign. He put his hands up to wave. He grabbed the training staff and shook their hands. So very, very good sign for Ron Williams. There he is, a little clap. That's good. That's difficult. It's difficult for the players. It's part of the game of football, and it's a risk you take when you play the game. But the next few plays are awful hard for everybody else on the field now as well.
Yeah, there's 2:27 left till halftime.
Now you have to try and block that out of your mind and not be thinking about, could I get hurt? How is Ron Williams? And all those other factors that are involved right now for both teams. And next 3 plays become very difficult psychologically for both teams.
So the ambulance with Ron Williams inside heads to the hospital. The encouraging sign, a little clap by Williams as he was lifted into the ambulance. And
very, very encouraging to see that. And he was moving his legs around as well, which is also very encouraging.
On the play, Williams did not fumble the ball, so it's a 3rd down punting situation as Paul Osbaldiston steps in near the 21-yard line. Ticats have dug a fairly deep hole. Ozzy's best kick of the night, chasing Johnson back near the 25. Nice burst, but he couldn't turn the corner. 8 yards on the return. 1st and 10 Blue Bombers when we return to Adidas Friday Night Football. 1st and 10 Blue Bombers. What a catch by Milt Stegall. Stuck his hands up, and the ball just stuck right there.
It was a great catch because this time the Hamilton linebacking core did a nice job of dropping where they were supposed to. Remember early in the game I said Michael O'Shea got caught up running on run support. Milt Stegall got in behind him. Well, this time Willie Fells drops back and is in the right spot. But Stegall still comes up with the catch.
17-yard gain for Stegall. Bombers are out across the 50 at the 52. Harry Jones operating with a hot hand. Corey Philpott for a couple.
You know, with the way that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have been moving the ball in the 2nd quarter, I'm a little surprised that they're not going with the no-huddle offense with 1:33 to go and try and come away with some more points before the end of the half. They can really dig that hole very deep against the Hamilton Tiger Cats if they can score one more time.
This will be 2nd and 8. 1:18 to go now till halftime. To Harry Jones, bought a little extra time. Now it's evaporated with Montford in pursuit. And he had to get rid of that one. There's a penalty marker down as Jones was hammered out of bounds after throwing the ball.
Willie Fells better be careful. He almost went over there and hit the official. I believe he's going to get the late hit.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Hamilton number 40. 1st down.
Willie Fells was closing. Joe Mumford was chasing down Kahari Jones from the backside. Willie Fells was closing. Watch Mumford. He's going to chase him down after getting caught up inside. He chases Kahari Jones this way, but Willie Fells from the right of your screen, as soon as Kahari Jones throws, he's out of bounds and then gets pushed down right there. But Fells turns around, goes right after the official, and almost hit him. And that would have been an ejection. They've already lost Mike Mihalik. He goes right after the official right there. See, if it's not that Winnipeg Blue Bomber, Alfred Payton, Willie Fells goes right after the official and likely hits him.
Very little has gone right for the Tiger Cats this night in Winnipeg. 1st down, Jones. Target open. Couldn't quite get there. Ticats closed on it in a hurry. Markers come down. Stegall was the intended receiver.
Chris Schelling may be called for pass interference, and I mean, that's going to be a close call for one reason. I look to me that Chris Schellings went up for that football with both hands. He's trying to take a look at the replay monitor here in Winnipeg Stadium. We'll see who's it against.
Forward pass interference. Hamilton number 30. The 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
Chris Schelling has had a tough night.
Well,
this is a bit close here. We'll watch again.
Well, let's take one more look. This is the very end, to the left of your screen in the corner. Right now, there's no interference. He goes up with both hands to go after that football, and in the process, bumps the head of Milt Stegall. I mean, Chris Schelling has as much right to the football as Milt Stegall does. And if he goes up with both hands like that and touches the football, you know,
I'm not sure about that one.
I don't like it. I do not like it. I mean, and I'm not just defending a defensive back in this case, because you have a right to the football as well. And if you go for both hands and you're looking at the ball, Now, they called it basically incidental contact. It's a 10-yard penalty, and there was a little incidental contact, but nothing going right for Ron Lancaster. Even the close calls are going against him.
He's got a minute to go till halftime.
Another injury, too, for Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Mo Elowanibi is very slow to come off the field. He's limping off.
So this Bomber drive continues. Winnipeg, after a very sluggish opening quarter, has really turned it on here. One touchdown late in that quarter on an 87-yard drive. That was the first to Robert Gordon, then Stiegel and Gordon again. For the Bombers, 3 touchdowns thus far. Chance for one more here. Kahari Jones escapes. And did he get it away and across the line?
I don't know if it went across the line of scrimmage.
Well, I guess he did. There's no markers down.
Very close. Mike Philbrick is arguing it, though, and now the flag does come down. Yeah, see, Mike Philbrick went right over there and argued that that ball didn't cross the line. The flag came down way late. You know, Mo Elowanibi limped off. That puts Joe Mumford right here in a one-on-one. There's the line of scrimmage.
There is no infraction on the play.
It's the 30. Oh, excuse me, the 31. Mumford is the guy who flushes him out to the outside. Kahari Jones, does he get it to the 31?
Hard to tell from that angle, but they have said now no infraction on the play.
So one of the officials listened to Mike Mihalik.
Or then got talked out of it.
Excuse me, Mike Philbrick, and then got talked out of it.
Yeah.
I'll get it right.
Kahari Jones is on a nice little roll here. 10 of his last 12 for 171 yards, and he's tossed 3 for touchdowns thus far tonight.
Watch Mumford again with Mo Elowanibi out of the game.
This is 2nd and 10. Draw play to Philpott. And he's inside the 20 for another Blue Bomber first down. So lots working for the Bomber offense tonight.
Well, you see, with Mo Elowanibi out, now Mumford is thinking sack. He's going after Kahari Jones. So a very good call from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They attack the line of scrimmage right there. See, Mumford, he wants to sack because he doesn't have that blocker on him anymore. He goes way upfield, and that's exactly where the draw is run, right where he was supposed to be.
Philpott has 11. Kahari puts it up on first down. End zone toss. And there's no call, no flag there, and no foul. Albert Johnson III was the intended receiver.
Well, when you think back to the Chris Schilling's interference call, which I don't think was interference, then you look at that Kevin Brooks play. I mean, what's the difference? Kevin Brooks went up over top of Albert Johnson to try and get that ball. He didn't touch it. Chris Schilling went up over top Milt Stiegel to get the football, had both hands on it, and got the interference call. So some inconsistency.
Kahari Jones. The numbers thus far looking good. He'll have time to throw again. Maybe not. Yes. Time to run. How about that? Little Houdini move, lost the ball. And the Bombers are on it in a hurry. Dave Mudge comes up with it. I don't know how he got away from that second wave of Ticat tacklers.
Well, Joe Mumford, I know he had a crack at him. He's at the top of your screen. He steps up. Again, Mo Elowanibi out of the game, so he's working on Mudge this time. Little spin move.
Now here.
There's where he has a chance. Now, how he gets out of that, I don't know. He spins out of Mark Word and Joe Mumford. And then Mudge, who had trouble with Mumford, ends up making the big play by recovering the fumble.
Bombers try a field goal with zeros on the clock. And that one is wide, folks. And kicked out of the end zone. No single either.
Yeah, good move by Corey Grant.
Well, he's no Canadian kid from Laurier.
Knows the rules. No time on the clock. Why give up a single? Kick it out. That's it.
So Westwood misses, but the Bombers are looking sharp. Stiegel has 1 touchdown. Robert Gordon has 2, and the Bombers have a comfortable lead. Something to dance about at halftime in Winnipeg.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN at the half.
Well, the main thing about the Bombers all year has been inconsistency. One good game, one bad game, sometimes one good series, one bad series. Tonight, probably the best half of football they played.
Yeah, they really have played well this first 30 minutes. A month ago, Winnipeg lost at Hamilton, an Ivor win 43-6. 43-6. The principal reasons? They had 7 turnovers that afternoon. This afternoon, tonight, they played really good football. No turnovers. They're distributing the ball, using all their weapons, and they've got a bunch of them at. They look pretty good right now.
That's right, and I like Robert Gordon. He just became the league's leading receiver in yardage and number of catches with his 472 tonight. Robert Gordon is simply getting it done for Kahari Jones and Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Here's a catch that's indicative of his play. He's not afraid to go over the middle and make the tough catch. That's why he is Kahari Jones' go-to man. Hey, Milt Stegall deserves a lot of credit. So does Robert Gordon. He's an excellent player.
And big concern in Hamilton is no longer Danny McManus. Right now it's the defensive football team, 21 first-half points. And you go back to the Toronto game in that third quarter where Toronto effectively ran the football, taking off 7 minutes 33 seconds. Winnipeg had another drive, 6 plays, 3 minutes and 50 seconds, went in for a touchdown. I compare it to Edmonton. Remember, Edmonton had the #1 defense by far, was hit by injuries, and then you kind of see them fade away. Defensively, now they're back. Hamilton has the same people. There is an issue defensively with the Hamilton Ticats.
Yeah, I think there was a tendency over the last couple of weeks to just blame Billy Dicken and Bankhead. You cannot blame them. They didn't get on the field in the first half of this one. Too many mistakes, too many penalties for the Ticats, and, well, the Bombers had a little something to do with it as well. Kahari Jones, a little bit of pain, but lots of gain. That was a touchdown pass. He had 3 TDs in the game, 21-3 lead. Here's the rest of your week. CBC has the Eskimos and Argos. Argos fans cheering for the Ticats tonight. How weird must that be? Sunday, we have the Alouettes and Riders. Also on Sunday, it's the Lions and Stampeders. And the key game this week as far as the panel picks go is Toronto and Edmonton. Eskimos win, Dunnigan retakes the overall lead all by himself. Toronto wins, Dunnigan gets another week of ribbing from his increasingly annoying host. Schultz and Tillman, non-factors.
Oh, yeah, baby!
Whoever you're picking this week, please, we implore you, go out and see a game. Here's the numbers to get a ticket. Your numbers at the break. Hamilton's offensive numbers looking a lot like they have the past few weeks, even with Danny McManus, although you get a sense he's been close on several of those passes. Winnipeg dominated. Look at the passing yards, 171-58. Kahari Jones and company really clicking. Here is Dave Ritchie.
Our guys are playing pretty hard, playing hard on both sides of the football and special teams, and we should have come away with 3 points there. Or a touchdown, but anyway, at least we do have a little bit of a lead. So now we just go in and hold it.
Thank you. Good luck in the second,
All right,
Coach.
thank you.
Doctors, your halftime analysis on this one, Chris?
Well, I think for Hamilton, more than anything, you have to adjust to Ronald Williams not being a part of your offense. We sincerely hope he's okay. If it's Jarrett Smith, he has to come through with one heck of a game in all the phases of football. Remember, blocking in terms of really running the football and catching passes. I think Kahari Jones is doing one heck of a job of avoiding the pass rush. Joe Montfort is having a great day in terms of his spin moves, and what is he doing to pressure Jones? Jones is buying time with his feet, and I think that's a difference in the game.
Well, I think so, Chris, and I think the difference in the game is the way that Winnipeg came out with emotion. They came out and simply took Hamilton off their game. They tried to entice them into some penalties, and I think that worked for them. And I think they were to establish some momentum. They got some calls in their favor. They need to come back out in the second half and be aggressive. Don't go in a shell. Don't protect the lead. Go out there and continue to push the football down the field and put yourself in a playoff position.
Matt, you're right. It was all Bombers the first 30 minutes, and I think that last field goal, an easy miss from the 33-yard line, could come back to haunt this team. It's a game of psychology, and you have a chance when you got your foot on somebody's throat, you got to stomp it and take advantage of it. Hamilton's been down before, and if they can come out of this third quarter and get it down to less than 14 points, it's anybody's football game. So I think all Hamilton has to do is just maintain their poise.
These gentlemen all very good at talking, but can they dance like the Bombers? Bombers putting on a show, funky little number after every score. The hottest boy band is...
Welcome back to Winnipeg. Dave Ritchie's Blue Bombers had a very solid first half. On the other side of the field, there was more frustration for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Well, I think we hurt ourselves as much as the Winnipeg did in the first half. We took a lot of dumb penalties, and we paid for it. We had opportunity early in the football game to take control of it. We didn't do it, and we allowed them to control the first half. We have to come back and just play our game, stay away from penalties. We'll win.
And as the boys mentioned at halftime, a missed field goal by the Bombers on the final play of the first half. Winnipeg got some touchdowns, though.
Well, they had things going. Robert Gordon in the second quarter, and Milt Stegall, he had a touchdown, and then Robert Gordon came right back for his second touchdown of the first half. So in that second quarter, Kahari Jones had the offense moving, but like Ron Lancaster mentioned, a lot of penalties kept drives alive for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
And they've had lots of practice working on the dance tonight. Stegall is the choreographer. And he has 4 catches for 71 yards. Robert Gordon, 4 catches, 72 yards. A couple of touchdowns for Gordon and 1 for Stegall, as mentioned.
Well, when you think of receiving corps as a group around the league, I don't know that there's more explosive receiving corps than the one here in Winnipeg right now. And I think Albert Johnson III, G. Roy Simon, who had a good game last week when Milt Stegall was taken out or thrown out of the football game at halftime, and then Milt Stegall and Robert Gordon. So a lot of weapons, very explosive receiving corps that every game get more and more confident in their quarterback, Kahari Jones.
Ready for the second half to begin. Paul Osbaldiston will get it underway. Albert Johnson III. Little stutter step one way. Turns it into a not bad return out near the 29. So Kahari Jones, with 3 touchdown passes in the first half, goes to work again. And he's definitely had the better performance of the 2 quarterbacks here tonight. McManus below 50% for only 58 yards.
And give some credit when you're looking at Danny McManus's numbers to the Winnipeg defense. Jerron Bolden has done his job taking Archie Amerson out of the first half of this game. And I think to a man, they're doing a pretty nice job against Danny McManus and the offense of the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Doesn't matter what quarterback you are, what kind of experience you've had. If you miss a couple of games, it takes a little while to get back on track. Nice game right up the middle for Corey Philpott. Stopped by Rob Hitchcock. 14 yards for Philpott, who's had a nice evening already.
You think about the Winnipeg offense in the second quarter, especially how they were moving the ball through the air and had some success along the ground. That's really saying something against this Hamilton defense. This defense, I mentioned earlier, but I think it bears repeating, is ranked first in the league against the run and the pass.
Another Bomber first down. Another carry for Corey Philpott, who bounced off a couple of Ticats.
You know, this is a defense that just doesn't miss tackles in the open field very often. They have good quickness in their linebacking core, Michael O'Shea, and there you see it right there. And they lead the league in quarterback sacks as well when you think of Joe Mumford and Mark Word, Mike Philbrick having his best season in the middle of that defensive line. Don Southern has really had them playing well. That's the defensive coordinator. And they're looking very average in this game here against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and looked average last week versus Toronto as well.
Gain was 8. This is 2nd and 2. And this will not be a first down.
And that's the type of defense that Don Southern wants out of this team.
Joe Montford in there again. 17 sacks in the season. And a big play here.
You know, and you talk to a lot of people around the league that play against Joe Montford, and they'll tell you that he's not only doing what he usually does when it comes to sacking the quarterback, but he's also doing a nice job stopping the run this year and stopping it consistently. Sometimes when you're a pure pass rusher, you forget about the run a little bit. You're just going into your pass rush moves. Well, Joe Montford has had the complete game this season.
Yeah, he has 7 tackles for losses. There's a key tackle there because it negated a Bomber first down. No room to run on the far side for Archie Amerson. So the Ticats try and get on track. They trail the Blue Bombers 21-3. Ticats getting set for a first down inside the 20-yard line. A quick medical update on Ronald Williams. Was taken off the field on a stretcher and in an ambulance. He has lower back pain. But the good news is, and the encouraging sign is, he has movement in all his extremities.
Yeah,
so the prognosis sounds pretty good, but it was a precautionary move, obviously.
Yeah, feeling in his hands and legs, arms and feet, so that's the good news. They'll x-ray him, make sure he's okay, and release him later. Done for the night, obviously. Jarrett Smith will replace him in the lineup.
And that's Jarrett Smith right there for only a couple.
The Hamilton Tigers actually have a couple of options of what they can do with Ron Williams out. Number one is to put Jarrett Smith in, the backup tailback, and have him run the ball. He's had limited action, just 4 carries. Excuse me, 20 carries on the season. But the other one they can do is they can go to more receivers. They have Mike Giras. He can go in.
Trevor Shaw
can go into the lineup, and they can spread things right out with no backs in the backfield.
And they'll likely have to air it out a little bit to get back to even. Corey Grant's first catch of the night.
See, this is the other option they'll go to. Trevor Shaw that time lined up in the backfield. And that's obviously usually where Ron Williams is. There's Trevor Shaw. See, he takes off there. Now, he's just another receiver, so basically Danny McManus will go with an empty backfield now with Ron Williams out of the lineup.
21 yards for Corey Grant. That's his 30th catch this season. Couple of touchdowns along the way. McManus with a first down out near the 40. Going deep, Amerson. And a huge play for the Tiger Cats as Amerson crosses into Winnipeg territory. He's inside the 45.
Big play.
Back-to-back super tosses by McManus.
Well, this one to Archie Amerson, getting him involved. Remember we talked about him with the Jerome Bolden matchup? Well, this time Jerome Bolden's playing zone. He's not in man-to-man trying to lock up on Archie Amerson. That time his job was to jam him and then move out to the outside. So that wasn't against Jerome Bolden in the matchup. But you know they'll go back to it because so far in the first half, Amerson was quiet.
Just the second catch of the night for Archie Amerson. Ticats with another first down. Morreale is looking for a call. He won't get it.
Well, it looked like Morreale was kind of nonchalant at the end of that play. He just sort of reached one arm out at it, looked like.
Now, hang on. There's a flag on the far side.
And he wanted a penalty immediately.
Illegal contact on a receiver.
I guess he does
Winnipeg
get it.
number 2.
It's Dave Donaldson. Was that on Morreale?
Morreale was running the straight seam pattern down the field and was basically screaming at the officials throughout the entire pattern. Take a look at the end of the play, just to the left of your screen. There's the seam pattern. Dave Donaldson kind of turned him around. You see how he lifted the one arm to try and catch it.
And they had a hold of the jersey there. So the Ticats get a first down. McManus goes for the touchdown. And Donaldson was covering and broke it up.
Again, it was basically the identical play to the one that Dave Donaldson got the penalty on. Straight seam pattern, nothing fancy from Mike Morreale. Donaldson right in there, knocking that arm down. Some hand fighting going on, and good no call.
Yeah, he's pretty good with his hands, you know.
Yeah, well, he's a judo guy.
5-time Manitoba judo champion, number 2, Dave Donaldson.
Yeah, you don't want to get karate chopped from him.
Yeah, no, he's got the quick hands.
Wax on, wax off.
2nd and 10, Tiger Cats. Here comes the bomber charge. McManus intercepted. Bolden had it tipped into his hands.
Hello, Tom Europe.
Another penalty flag is down. The Ticat receiver had his hands on the ball. It squirted free, and Bolden was there.
Well, it was forced free is what it was from Tom Europe. Mike Morreale ran the post. I believe it was Morreale who was...
Major foul, clipping, Winnipeg 98. First down.
Watch Tom Europe down the seam. Hello. Morreale, that ball bounces up in the air, and Jerome Bolden picks it up.
Penalty goes against the Bombers, but it's after the interception on the return. Clipping is called on this guy.
Yeah, but that was a hit. That was some kind of hit from Tom Europe. Both players' feet planted in the ground. Europe's having a great season. 4 interceptions for him and a bunch of big hits just like that one this year.
Well, and he gets an assist on the interception there, right?
Well, should. He really should. You know, in his 4 interceptions this year, he's had over 100 yards in return yardage on interceptions. So doing something with the ball after, he's having his best season, according to a lot of the coaches that have watched him play this year.
He's one of Dave's boys, isn't he?
Well, yeah, but he was in Dave's bad books at the end of last season and had to really come in and prove himself this year.
How you doing at the Scott residence?
That was a big hit, big time hit.
Yeah, he's over again.
No, they went in.
Injured Ticat being tended to. We'll take a quick break and return to Winnipeg after this.
Ron Warner better keep his head up the rest of this game, because not only is that an illegal block, because you can't block below the waist on interception returns, but it's also a cheap shot in the legs of Carl Coulter, and McManus goes over and reminds Ron Warner of that.
A little warning there from the quarterback. Heads up, 98.
If Ron Warner's better keep his head up the rest of this game. Bit of a cheap shot there on Carl Coulter, and he was hurt.
Interception stands. The penalty was on the return. The Bombers start inside the 15. Kahari Jones has his man far side. Robert Gordon again. Gordon is having a wonderful night and a super season.
Yeah, Kevin Brooks he's having a nightmare as well. Chris Schilling and Kevin Brooks aren't having their best outings. Little stutter step by Robert Gordon. See how high Kevin Brooks is? He's way ahead of Gordon. That allows him to cut underneath. The perfect position if you're running that go pattern is just to be a little bit behind the receiver in his hip. That time Kevin Brooks was real high on Robert Gordon, and Gordon put the brakes on, came up with the catch.
Solid gain for the Bombers, and they go after more. Gordon was the intended receiver again, and that time Kevin Brooks won the one-on-one battle.
Hey, keep throwing it until Kevin Brooks comes up with a play, either him or Chris Schilling, and that's exactly what Kahari Jones is thinking. I'm going to keep going after my #1 guy who already has 100 yards and 2 touchdowns on the game until Kevin Brooks decides to make a play, and he did on that last one.
It'll be 2nd and 10 Blue Bombers with a 21-3 lead. We move to the halfway point of the 3rd quarter.
In the box here.
Kahari had that knocked to the ground by Mike Philbrick.
And
was really just trying to unload it, wasn't he?
And was knocked to the ground by Mark Word. Kahari Jones tries to break to the outside, and Mark Word knocks him to the ground. Dave Mudge might have got away with a little bit of a hold. Both teams trying to set a physical tone for a possible playoff matchup down the road.
Pretty good kick for Troy Westwood. Chasing Amerson back to the 5. Nice tackle from behind. Drags Amerson down.
And I say possible because I'm not ruling out the Toronto Argonauts in the playoff picture. But Archie Amerson had 1 big catch in this game so far, and it was against a zone. It wasn't against a man-to-man matchup in Jerome Bolden.
2 catches all night for Amerson, 1 for substantial yardage. Nice tackle on that last play was made by Spencer McClellan on special teams for the Bombers. And the Bombers special teams unit has done a pretty good job on the Ticats so far tonight. Again, Hamilton starts inside the 20. McManus looking deep. Corey Grant was the target.
Rio Wells is out there covering, has a couple interceptions on the season, and Rio Wells is getting more and more playing time because of the way they're playing Jerron Bolden. If Jerron Bolden is going to continue to cover the #1 receiver for the offenses, then Rio Wells gets the chance to play on the corner for where Jerron Bolden usually plays, and that's the perfect position that you can be in. That's how you play that go route. You play a little bit behind the receiver so the ball gets there, you can knock it out. Jerron Bolden's running all over the field to find Archie Amerson.
2nd and 10, Ticats. McManus unloads in a hurry, and no one was home.
Dave Donaldson got away with one. Dave Donaldson hit Corey Grant on the post pattern, and the officials must have ruled that it was just not catchable. It was a high pass, but Corey Grant was coming across the middle of the field, and well before the ball arrived, Dave Donaldson just ran straight into him. And he just told us about it right there. You see, I gave him the elbow right across the chin.
And no one saw it.
And got away with it.
So we saw it, Dave.
You don't see it, no penalty, right? Officials don't see it. Yeah, that's how I got him.
Osbaldiston inside his 5. Bombers will get solid field position here. Albert Johnson III slides to his left. And he's hammered into the Bomber bench. Flags are everywhere. Nice 11-yard return. Hitchcock is in the middle of things. So is Sean Woodson. It's Adidas Friday Night Football from Winnipeg.
Swipe your club card at Safeway for automatic milk.
Penalties are really hammering the Tiger Cats into the turf here at Winnipeg Stadium on a nice return. Penalty added on. Look where the Blue Bombers get the start.
Yeah, they start around the 34-yard line now. You know when you look up at the sun by mistake and you see spots for the next hour, hour and a half? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
you look at the sun by mistake and you see the spots. Get the same effect with these penalty flags here tonight. Every time I see one, I see orange spots out there.
I've never seen 5 in the air at one point, but I've seen it here tonight. Here's Corey Philpott. And he's halfway to another Blue Bomber first down. Games in the CFL continue into the final 3 weeks. Argos on home turf tomorrow night against the Eskimos. Can the Argos keep it going?
How important is it for Toronto if Winnipeg should hold on and win this game? Now 3 points up on the Toronto Argonauts for the last playoff spot in the East, and becomes a must-win for the Argonauts.
Yeah, you know who Clemens and the boys are cheering for?
Yeah.
The Tiger Cats, and they hate the Tiger Cats. Harry Jones fired that one into the turf. Jeroy Simon took a hit. He wasn't really in a position to make the catch.
Well, it's an interesting playoff battle when you think about how important this game is for Winnipeg and how important the rest of their season is. That's what it stands like right now when you look at the 4 teams battling for really those 2 spots, one in the West, one in the East. BC Lions pretty much controlling the 3rd spot in the West, so it becomes 4 teams fighting for 1 position. Saskatchewan a little bit out of it with 9, but they're not out of it mathematically.
Nope, numbers are still there.
Winnipeg can, with 3 wins, can catch Hamilton for 2nd.
Field goal is good for Troy Westwood. He missed one a little earlier, last play of the first half, but he nails that one, and the Bombers have a 24-3 lead.
And remember, if Winnipeg hangs on to win this game, they now have the season series versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who, if they lose this one, would have lost 4 in a row. So it's an interesting 3 games to go in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, and I don't want you to get anywhere near the crossover possibility.
Well, I don't.
You'll just confuse everybody out there. The Blue Bombers have 2 games remaining after this at Toronto next Friday night, and at home to Edmonton on the final week of the season. So those are our next 2 Friday night telecasts. We'll be with the Bombers right down the stretch.
A win tonight would go a long way in their playoff picture, because that puts them in control of that 3rd spot. Now, depending on what happens in that Toronto-Edmonton game as to whether or not the Argos stay in the race. You know, but they're also looking over there at Saskatchewan as sort of an outside horse in the race, because they could still cross over. And there I went into it a little bit.
Yeah,
I'll get out of it.
And that's where you lose me all the time. Jeff Johnson rolls out across the 30-yard line.
You know what? If it's going to get that confusing, why don't we just go golfing or something?
Yeah.
we could just sit in and watch some golf.
Watch a little bit. Hey, the Americans have the lead. Surprise, surprise. It's 10-5. President's Cup Golf continues on TSN tomorrow. 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon in central Canada.
Well, with the weather it was here in Winnipeg, could have golfed here yesterday.
They were playing today. I drove by Southwood out on Pembina Highway.
Yeah.
And they were playing.
Well, and it was nice today. It cooled down a little bit tonight, but it was nice during the day.
It's not every October you get to play golf in Winnipeg. McManus has Greg, and he dropped one earlier, so he cradled that one a little bit. Really didn't get a chance to get any positive yardage out of it.
Archie Amerson's
or at least real positive yardage. He's got about 5.
Sorry, John. Archie Amerson's getting some extra attention down the field. Here comes Archie Emerson. Harold Nash gives him a little shot. Jerron Bolden gives him a little knee. Archie Emerson is no longer a factor for Danny McManus if he's on his knees like that.
Emerson having a breakthrough season, and all of a sudden getting a little more attention.
Yeah, you're right about
that. Sort of happens that way, doesn't it? Oh, here's the pull-up. McGregor goes down and makes the catch out near the 55.
A good catch by McGregor, but you know what? Archie Emerson is going to be frustrated because he had Jerron Bolden on that play. It was the one-on-one matchup, and Emerson made an incredible move on him, was open by 6 yards, and Danny McManus looked the other way. I mean, this is a move, and Jerron Bolden has done a nice job. When he's been in man-to-man, watch this move there. The shake there, turn him right around, ran the corner, and is open by 6 yards. He's going, no, I can't believe he didn't look at me this time.
He's not used to seeing him without number 21 on his shoulder. Greg makes the first down, and the drop play to Jared Smith.
That's one of those
for only a yard.
That's one of those plays, John, that Jerron Bolden will watch on the tape tomorrow. He'll be cringing when that one comes up and just go, ooh, good thing he didn't look that way that time. That is a tough position to be in for a defensive back because the Hamilton Tiger Cats have lined Archie Emerson up in a bunch of different places. Wide receiver, inside receiver, out of the backfield, and Bolden has to keep running with them wherever he goes.
Second and long, McManus goes long, and too long for Darren Flutie. Flutie misjudged that a bit and slow down.
Sometimes the presence of a defensive back in the area is enough, and I'm not saying, I mean, Darren Flutie is one of the toughest receivers in the game. He'll go over the middle, no problem to make the big catch, but sometimes a defensive back in the area can be just enough to distract your attention, and I think that's what happened to Flutie, who's going to try and run the corner, but watch how Brandon Hamilton drops back. Watch number 3 break inside, and that just takes Flutie's attention away just long enough. He doesn't get a piece of him, really, but he looked at Brandon Hamilton, took his eye off the ball.
Osbaldiston in again. Standing at his 41. Ozzy's had a couple of less than impressive kicks tonight, but there's no return for Albert Johnson III. It's the Bombers all the way thus far. Back live in Winnipeg for 1st and 10. Kahari Jones and the Bombers. Corey Philpott stopped in his tracks. And there's another penalty flag down there. CFL Live on Sunday.
Montreal versus Saskatchewan. Montreal Alouettes coming off that win last week versus Winnipeg.
Alouettes a good-looking team.
Yeah, and they pretty much locked up first. In fact, when I talked to Ron Lancaster, and I asked him, are you still looking at Montreal for first place and trying to catch them? He said, realistically, no. Realistically, we're trying to sew up a home playoff game, and that's really our concern right now. Montreal is the front runner, and it's getting colder, and that's when it's Pringle
Major
time.
foul, rough play disqualification. Hamilton, 59. First down.
Jeez, this is
good night, Mike O'Shea.
Now that was probably the quietest disqualification I've ever seen.
Second disqualification for the Tiger Cats tonight. This just doesn't happen very often.
Well, there's Michael O'Shea right there. And this was a quiet one. Wade Miller is the guy blocking him. Kind of falls on him. Really didn't see any problem with that.
Now, he was leading with that elbow a little bit.
Well, but that happens everybody. From up here, didn't hear anything he said. Ron Lancaster even wants to find out why he was thrown out.
So the Tiger Cats are a little bit thin on defense now. Harry Jones goes to work and missed. Milt Stiegel down at the 45.
Well, here's what Ron Lancaster has to do now on defense. With Michael O'Shea, the leader, out of that linebacking core, now he moves Rob Hitchcock, who's a safety. He moves him down to the linebacking core, and they put Kyle Walters at safety.
206 yards and penalties. That's a couple of touchdowns when you add up all those yards.
No question. That's a lot of yards. Now, Hitchcock's got to play linebacker, and he's tough enough to do it. He just hasn't taken many reps down there. And then you put Kyle Walters at the free safety. So inexperienced now at free safety for Hamilton, and a guy who's a safety playing linebacker.
At 204 net yards for these Tiger Cats thus far tonight. And Kahari Jones having a field day. He has Albert Johnson the third out near the 50. Another first down. Bombers are on a march with 2:22 to play in the third quarter.
That makes it very tough for Hamilton to play with any consistency on both sides of the ball. They've lost their starting tailback in Ron Williams on offense. They lose Michael O'Shea on defense.
Mike Mihalik was tossed out in the first quarter.
And that just gives a little more confidence to the great weapons the Winnipeg Blue Bombers all of a sudden have.
And a quarterback playing extremely well. Making it happen in every area. Corey Philpott takes a little screen. He was wrapped up quickly, though.
Well, Willie Fells and Sean Woodson, and Woodson was in on the tackle. Those two now have to really pick up their game, and you're talking about two rookies. So now you got Rob Hitchcock playing out of position. Willie Fells is a rookie. He's playing in his first year. Wow, he's played all season, really, after Joe Higgins went down early. And Sean Woodson. So Sean Woodson's played half a year, so it's a young linebacking core right now for Hamilton.
Kahari Jones on second down. Stiegel couldn't get turned around to get to it with Chris Schelling covering him there.
Kahari Jones wanted to go right down the middle and try and take advantage of the inexperience at safety with Kyle Walters. He had G-Roy Simon running a seam pattern. Kyle Walters went with that one, and then he saw that he had Milt Stiegel and just couldn't get him the football. But why not take a shot deep down the middle of the field when you got inexperience there?
Westwood hammers this one inside the 5. Amerson back to the 1. And the return will be kept to about 4 yards. Amerson is tossed back, and again it's Spencer McLennan. Solid special teams tackle there.
Yeah, you know, Spencer McLennan makes a nice tackle. I think a mistake was made, though, by Archie Amerson. That ball was coming down right around the goal line. Spencer McClellan makes him pay because he gets the tackle down there inside the 10. But should Archie Amerson have let this one bounce? See, he's going to back up. See him backing up for that football? If that hits the ground right there and bounces in the end zone, he goes up and gives up a single. They get way better field position. Spencer McLennan has put together a pretty nice career as a special teams guy. 10 years in the league.
So now the Bombers have the Ticats. Inside the 10, McManus goes to Morreale. Catch made. No, couldn't hang on. I thought he had it. Flags were already down as the ball left McManus's hand.
The flag was away from the play. It wasn't over by Mike Morreale, but it was right around where Archie Amerson and Jerome Bolden were sparring.
Aha!
Illegal contact on a receiver. Winnipeg 21.
Yeah.
First down.
You got it.
Yeah, that's it.
Are you watching the rest of the game, or are you just watching this match?
You know what? I love the game inside the game so much, and this has been a tremendous battle all game long.
Yeah, but you wanted to build the whole game around this at the breakfast meeting this morning. You said we got to watch 21.
Well, I got to tell you something. It's key for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Archie Amerson is their big play receiver, and he hasn't made a whole lot of big plays here tonight.
I think you're right on the money. McManus under the coverage. Grigg made the catch and stepped out of bounds. It'll be a Ticat first down.
Well, Bolden again. You know why he hasn't made a lot of big plays? And I'm going to go back to it one more time. Jerome Bolden, watch what he does to Archie Amerson here. Good technique on the jam. Little grab he gets away with. Gets some help from his friend. And is right in the hip pocket of Archie Amerson right there. Danny McManus can't find him, and that's why. I remember one time now in this whole game that Amerson got open, and Danny McManus looked the opposite way.
Should be the last play of the third quarter. McManus looks to the far side. Amerson can't bring it down. Pretty good coverage.
A battle again. A battle again.
Bolden on Amerson. Story within a story, the game within the game. 1 quarter to go, and the Bombers having a field day at the Tiger Cats' expense. It's Adidas Friday Night Football, live from Winnipeg.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN at the quarter.
Bombers are playing terrific, but this has been nothing short of a disaster for Hamilton. Their offense has done basically nothing. Their defenses look vulnerable. They have a potential serious injury to Ronald Williams and also a lack of discipline leading to 2 ejections. And should the folks in Steeltown be worried about all these things?
Boy, when you put it that way, I would say, yeah. It doesn't sound very good, James. Hey, but I look at it like this. The Hamilton Tiger Cats, beginning of the season, we said there was no reason to panic when things weren't going their way. And I think they're in the same situation towards the end of the season here. They have 2 more games after this, and they have an opportunity to get their things together. But I think that this is an experience-laden football team that has the ability to do that. Last year, they were the same type of situation. I look at the Hamilton Tiger Cats with plenty of time, Chris, to right the ship, get it going, and you know as well as anybody that when you're in the playoffs or going into the playoffs, it's the team with the momentum that can get it done. And I think Hamilton still has time to do that, so no panic.
Yeah, to rebuild that momentum. But right now, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers do have some momentum. And as much as it is offense, let's give some credit to those defensive backs. This is a group of people that have been heavily criticized well into 3 quarters of the season, and they're kind of coming into their own. The cornerback, that's a relatively easy position in the sense that it's bordered by the sidelines, but it's defense, it's the hash marks and the defensive halfbacks and the safeties that really are playing well for this Winnipeg team.
Yeah, they are, Chris. You talk about those DBs making plays. Well, we saw in that first series, Hamilton took the ball, they drove down the field, and they're positioned to get points. And, you know, here you see right now, Danny McManus going to Morielli on the skinny post or seam. A huge hit by Europe, a turnover, Jerome Bolden gets the plays. That's how you win football games. They're in plus territory. They don't get any points. Credit those DBs that Schultze's talking about.
Coming into this game, the Bombers have given up more points than anybody else in the CFL. 32.5 a game, a measly 3 so far to what is often a powerful Ticat offense. Let's send you back to Winnipeg for 4th quarter action.
Well, 1 quarter to go. Straighten that tie, you're on TV.
Thank you very much. What would I do without you?
Michael O'Shea ejected for an eye gouge upon further review and clarification from the officials. Eye gouge on Wade Miller, right?
Now, yeah, in this game, in the game of football, eye gouges happen often. They happen right down there in the trenches, but Michael O'Shea got caught. The ref saw it. It was after the Wade Miller hit, down on the ground, and that's why he's out.
Ticats face an uphill battle, down by a bunch. McManus has a target there out at the 45.
All right, well, give
Amerson wins one.
Give one to Archie Amerson. Give one to Archie Amerson. He's still got a quarter to go. This boxing match is still on. This tilt's still going. A little corner pattern for Amerson. And Jerome Bolden got caught looking into the backfield a little bit. So let's give one to Amerson now. He's still got a deficit to come back from. Jerome Bolden did three quarters of pretty good work.
3rd catch for Amerson for 48 yards. 17-yard the gain. And behind the intended target, Corey Grant that time. So there's still a little rust on number 14. Ticats with way too many penalties as we look at the stats through 3 quarters.
That's just ugly. You're not going to win many games with 15 penalties for over 200 yards. I guarantee you that. You know, the good news for Ron Lancaster, though, is that he got Danny McManus back playing. And, you know, he's going to get the rust off in this game. He'll be better next week. His hamstring so far has held out. That's also very good news for this team heading down the playoff stretch.
quick release for McManus. Morreale has it at the 50.
And remember, the Ticats really in their last 3 games only need 1 win to lock up second place. They're 6 points ahead of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers right now. So this is not necessarily a must-win game.
Ticats down the stretch are in BC next week and home to Calgary on the final Sunday of the season.
So they really just had to win 1 game out of those 3. Doesn't have to necessarily be this one, and they have a home field playoff game.
And there's other ways to make it to second place, too, to lock it up. But they want to go in on a positive note. Markers are down everywhere. A couple of flags.
And you
right on the line.
You talked, John, to Ron Lancaster about playing Danny McManus. And, you know, most people, including myself, asked him quite frankly, aren't you worried about taking the big risk of losing your starter for the playoffs? And the panel talked about it before the game, that Matt Dunnigan said he did it in 1990.
Offside. Winnipeg 56.
It cost him the season. You know, it cost him the rest of that season in the playoffs. So it's a huge risk.
Same injury, right?
It's same thing. So now Danny McManus has got through so far, which is the good news. He's playing, and that's what Ron Lancaster said. He said, you know, we got to get him in playing, though, because the longer he sits out, the more rust he's going to have.
I mean, it's an obvious part of the plan. You can't just parachute a player in and expect everything to work efficiently when the playoffs roll around. And I mean, you're seeing some of the rust here tonight on McManus. His timing is off a little bit. Morreale got 1 hand on it, couldn't bring it down. A little frustration on the face of 14 with Tom Europe covering.
Been watching a little bit of Lamar McGriggs in this game, a guy who really wants to have a good game, and he's been sound. Number 36 right there to the right of your screen. Nice little break there. He makes Danny McManus throw the ball up and over him, and that gives Dave Donaldson and Tom Europe a chance to get there.
Ticats, 2nd and 5. The big catch by Mike Juhas for a Hamilton first down. And that was a clutch toss and a fine catch by Juhas. Only his 2nd reception of the season.
I want to show you Harold Nash. Right here. He rolls the dice and tries to break downhill under this out. He's right in the inside. Watch the out. Here comes the out. Watch Harold Nash. Breaks downhill right there and misses the ball.
That close.
0-0 rolled snake eyes.
First down, Tiger Cats. Long pass. One-hander. Couldn't hang on. Andrew Grigg.
You know, really, full credit has to go to the Winnipeg secondary in this game. Jerome Bolden, we've talked a lot about, but to a man, this secondary is playing pretty well. Every time the Hamilton Tiger Cats go for a catch like that, it's a tough catch to make, and that Andrew Grigg catch would have been tough had he been able to get there. There has been Winnipeg Blue Bombers all over these guys all night long.
Valiant effort by Grigg there, but coverage was a little too tight. 2nd and 10. This drive began back at the 17, one of Hamilton's most successful thus far this evening. McManus fired low.
And again, Brandon Hamilton right there on Andrew Grigg. It just seems that they can't shake these guys. You know, there's not much room for Danny McManus to get that football in there.
Wasn't this Bombers secondary an area of concern for Winnipeg? I mean, at certain stages of this season at least.
It has been. It has been inconsistent. At least early in the year, it was very inconsistent. Tom Europe has played outstanding. Brandon Hamilton is the veteran. He was the guy covering on the last play. Jerron Bolden have made them a lot better in that secondary.
Yeah, Dave Donaldson's a little new, but he's done a pretty good job tonight.
Second half of the year, Dave Donaldson moved from offense to D and is playing well.
Ticats go gunning for it on 3rd and 10. Morreale made the catch. Then this drive will continue. Mike Morreale comes down with the biggest catch for the Tiger Cats all night long.
And he had to catch it twice. Runs down the seam. It looks like there was some confusion in the Winnipeg secondary a little bit because they were scrambling to get into position. They come with a stunt and a blitz up front, and they play pretty much zone behind it. Mike Morreale with a key catch to keep their hopes alive.
Gain is 19.
More importantly, it's a first down for the Tiger Cats at the Winnipeg 15. McManus under the cover. Shaw makes the catch and hammers his way down to the 2. Another Ticat first down. And he's inside the 5 for sure. Likely closer to the 2-yard line.
There's a lot of fans in Hamilton that wonder why Trevor Shaw doesn't get a little more playing time. He's been in the league for 5 years, a couple in Hamilton. He's maybe the best all-around athlete they have. Guy can go out on a golf course and shoot under 80.
Yeah, he's on the Ticat golf team.
Yeah, he's a tremendous all-around athlete.
Into the end zone for the touchdown, Jared Smith, number 34, and his first touchdown of the season. Smith missed much of last year.
Well, Danny McManus is starting to get it back a little bit, and he's had his receivers come up with a couple of big catches. All of a sudden, they're right back in this game with plenty of time left. 9:50. Now it's a 14-point game if Ozzie makes this extra point.
Yeah, and that was a pretty good drive, starting back near the 20-yard line at about the 17. Ticats climb within 2 touchdowns after a tough beginning to this evening in Winnipeg. It's Adidas Friday Night Football. 9:44 to go till full time. Blue Bombers trying to lock up a playoff spot and take a step toward it tonight. They'll try and do a little more next Friday night when they take on the Argonauts. And the next home game for the Argos is tomorrow against the Eskimos. Toronto on a nice little 2-game winning streak.
Yeah, and we talked about Toronto in that game, but how about Edmonton? Edmonton, coming off the big win versus Calgary, still have a chance at first in the West Division.
Elon Green really looked sharp last week, didn't he?
Running for sure.
Johnson from the 10 all the way out to the 31. Nice return. Decent field position for the Blue Bombers, and the Ticats finally marched successfully into the Blue Bomber end zone on a great drive that covered 103 yards. Jared Smith, first CFL touchdown right there.
Yeah, he gets the hard yards up inside. It was the 3rd down gamble that really the Mike Morreale catch gave the Hamilton Tiger Cats a huge lift. That's the touchdown. Good hard running in there by Jared Smith, but it was that 3rd down play to Morreale on the catch that gave him huge momentum. 13 plays. Anytime you're over 10 plays in a drive, I tell you what, you're doing something. That's a good drive put together. Took away 5 minutes, and now we'll see if the Hamilton defense is going to take advantage of some of the momentum that offensive drive gave this team.
Well, yeah, and it's up to the defense right now to get it back in a hurry for the Tiger Cats, because there's lots of time left for Danny McManus with 9:39 on the clock. And they're down by 2 touchdowns. So there's hope. This guy has seen more than a couple of touchdowns scored in 9 minutes and 39 seconds, hasn't he?
Yeah, and there's another injury down there, so we'll have to check that out when we return.
The virtual first down line is brought to you by Molson Canadian. I am Canadian.
So is Glenn Suter, no truer Canadian than thee. Corey Philpott had a burner down there, and he apparently is okay.
Collision with Chris Schilling. Right to the right of your screen. Pretty good collision right there, number 30 and number 9, and number 9 got a bit of a burner.
Bombers lead by 2 touchdowns at 24-10. Yamoka had it bounce away. He got it back, but there was no recovering and getting any positive yardage there. He lost a yard. Lucky to have the ball.
But you see the
he got his hands on it.
See the pursuit there, though? See the pursuit from the Hamilton defense? Yamoka bounces around a little bit. He believes he's in basketball. He's going to dribble it a little bit, and then he picks it up. A good pursuit by Hamilton. That's because of Mike Morreale's catch on 3rd down. You can count all those Hamilton tacklers over there. Now they're pumped up. They're starting to believe again.
8:42 to go. Bombers looking at 2nd and 10. Penalty flags fly. And Johnson just batted that away at the last possible second. as Kahari Jones underthrew it.
Chris Schilling
has had a tough night, hasn't
well,
he?
it's been one of those nights for him because that ball was coming right to him.
Offside. Hamilton 97.
Oh, they're going to get another chance. But that ball's coming right to Chris Schilling, and he waits on it rather than coming back to it, and that allows Albert Johnson to come around. Now, it would have come back anyway because of the offside, but it's been that kind of night for Chris Schilling.
2nd and 5. Bombers at their own 37. Kahari Jones onto the cover. Oh. And a hammer job done there to Wade Miller after he made the catch.
Rob Hitchcock, now remember I said he's tough enough to play linebacker. Well, he comes out there and lowers the boom.
Hitchcock in at linebacker with O'Shea ejected. Hello, crunch time. Wade Miller caught one earlier for a first down.
Well, Hamilton Tiger Cats, because of that tackle, should get pretty good field position.
Westwood just got it away. Corey Grant at the 31. Ticats will begin at the 40. Not bad field position. With 7:48 to go, McManus has 2 touchdowns to get, just to get even. Sports Desk comes your way right after we're done here at Winnipeg Stadium. Dutchie and Rod, Petition and Smith have the next edition.
Highlights of this game. Hockey season has begun.
Yeah, you hear Dutchie's moving to the hockey beats.
He's moving over to hockey.
He's going to be Mr. Hockey too.
How about those Vancouver Canucks start? Pretty good start for the Canucks.
Are you on the wagon already?
I'm on the wagon.
McManus on first down. He fires this one a mile. And they might throw a flag on that. Well, I guess not. I thought there might have been a little screening there. Was I?
You were bang on. It was Lamar McGriggs who got way deep in the coverage on Archie Amerson. You got to give him credit for getting that deep, but you know, you're absolutely right. He put his hands in front of Archie Amerson's face and did not look back to the football as far as I could see. There's Jerron Bolden, another good move. See Lamar McGriggs coming to help out. Now watch. Does he look back to the ball when he screens him? Well, they're saying because he didn't touch it, it was actually Bolden who touched it, then they won't call him on the penalty.
Likely the right call. It looked a little suspicious at first. McManus 2nd and 10. Oh! You got to catch those, Mike. Mike Morreale made a big catch to keep the drive rolling last time, but he should have had that one, and the coach is not happy with him.
As a defense, establishing yourself physically early in the game can pay off later. And you remember the Tom Europe hit and some of the hits that have been going on out on that field? You know, this is where they start to pay off. The big hits pay off later, and Archie Amerson once again wide open. That's the second time in this game he's been wide open, and Danny McManus didn't see him.
Yeah, and he shook Bolden on that last play, didn't he? And then ended up with Lamar McGriggs coming over and covering him. Albert Johnson stands near the Winnipeg 35. Paulos Balliston back at the Ticat 25. Huge kick by Ozzie. Albert Johnson the third. And nowhere to run. Tackle. Yeah, great special teams tackle by the first guy downfield.
Rob Hitchcock gets right down there. Great speed by Albert Johnson. He made it look fairly easy, but it wasn't, I guarantee you.
Net 60 because it was a 55-yard punt. -5 on the return. Game story brought to you tonight by The Keg. For great steaks, great food, great friends. See you tonight.
There you go. Lots of penalties for the Ticats. Robert Gordon, a couple of touchdowns. Pretty good night for Kahari Jones, and he's protected the football. Hasn't thrown that big interception, at least not yet. And I hope I didn't jinx him for Winnipeg fans here.
Well, yeah,
in the
right
stadium.
Here would be a horrible time to turn it over for the Bombers, but Kahari has been solid. Oh my gosh, you did it! There's Hitchcock, end zone, touchdown. Way to go, Sooner!
Oh no, I jinxed him. jinxed him.
6:19 to go. Look at the Ticat dance in the end zone.
Oh, that was a big dance.
Yeah, the big guys.
They all got in there.
Wales.
Well, what a play by Rob Hitchcock. Now, we talked about him coming down a linebacker, and he's not used to playing down there, but he is used to pass coverage. He's normally their free safety, and right when I jinx him, he's going to take his drop right here and get right in the passing lane, number 42 of Kahari Jones. Watch this. Right to him, perfect drop, and he's in the end zone for his first touchdown on the season and third interception.
15-yard touchdown. Hitchcock has the Tiger Cats right back in this thing, down by a touchdown at 24-17.
I jinxed him.
Oh,
man.
Kahari Jones may never speak to you again.
Oh, man. I just said he protected the football. I hope he does. That doesn't jinx him, and he throws it right to Rob Hitchcock. He didn't see him. He's going underneath to Milt Stegall. Remember early in the game, O'Shea didn't get enough depth, and they threw that play to Stegall? Well, Rob Hitchcock got the perfect depth and was in the perfect area, and that ball was thrown right to him. Kahari Jones didn't see him, didn't have a chance to tackle him as he went in the end zone and went, uh-oh. That's a key mistake. Now, you want to talk about some dances. Look, they throw the thing up, then they all fall down. Oh, boy. They're getting creative. They're getting creative in the dancing. That's the whole defense in there, too. Well, they heard all week about the receiving corps for Winnipeg and their dances and how Montreal was trying to break them up and all that stuff.
I wonder where they practice that. Behind closed doors somewhere?
Well, you know.
They likely rent a ballet studio in Hamilton and go over and practice after they've worked out at Ivor Wynn.
Well, look at this. Things are turning right here. Look at the fourth quarter. Things are turning around a little bit.
Old Mo.
Winnipeg with the donut so far, but they'll get the ball right back.
But they need a return here, and they can't misplay it like that. Johnson retreated. Now he's got a little room to move. Albert Johnson, the third, takes it wide, far side. Pretty nice return overall. He's out near the 30.
And I should straighten one thing out. I said earlier in the season that Albert Johnson was having a great rookie season. And technically, he's a rookie. In fact, in training camp, he got rookie pay. He did play 2 games in Saskatchewan last year, and I did mention that, but I sort of classified him as a rookie, which he is when you looked at his training camp paycheck, but not when it comes to voting for the Rookie of the Year. So he cannot win the Rookie of the Year award.
Thank you for clarifying.
I had to straighten that up. Although he would be a good candidate if he could. I don't
you
quite
had to go back and dig a little deeper.
No, because I don't quite understand how you get rookie pay and yet aren't classified a rookie when it comes to the awards at the end of the year. That doesn't seem right to me. If you're not going to classify me as a rookie, pay me like a veteran.
Well, I understand what you're saying.
Okay, then.
I think.
Well, there's lots of football to play left in this game. 6 minutes remaining in the game, and all of a sudden, it's a 7-point game, and now a little more pressure squarely on Albert Johnson and the rest of the offense for Winnipeg. And they were kind of cruising there in the second half.
Another injury timeout at Winnipeg Stadium, 6:02 to play. We'll return to Adidas Friday Night Football after this. Situation number 27, the Ticats, where Musica was injured, but he's off on the sidelines, apparently okay. The Bombers are 1st and 10. Kahari Jones escaped from the first Ticat, but not the second, as Cummings comes through and gets him. And Gonzalo Floyd was the first Tiger Cat in the territory.
And more dancing.
Jeff's going to work on his dance steps.
Jeff has the... Well, you're going to see tremendous pressure now. Here, Gonzalo Floyd comes from the top. Kahari Jones spins out of that one and spins right into the arms of Jeff Cummins.
Ticat defense is turning it on. 2nd and 17. Bombers at the 23. Little screen pass to Philpott, and he turned it into a first down. Huge play for the Bombers. Absolutely huge for Corey Philpott.
Well, it really is. Remember, about 5 plays ago on a return, Corey Philpott had a stinger. And when you have a stinger, it takes a while for it to recuperate. Well, he's back. He had to reach up for the football, catches it, turns around, and then some good moves in the open field. This one especially right there to break into the opening. Found a little seam, and Kyle Walters, the safety, has to pull him down.
Keep in mind that Walters is into the game because Hitchcock is playing linebacker because O'Shea was ejected.
And there's another Ticat down back around the 20-yard line.
Hard-hitting affair at Winnipeg Stadium tonight. A lot on the line for the Bombers in particular. The Tiger Cats are here trying to regain some momentum and respect after a tough 3 weeks. The Bombers are here after a tipsy-topsy season.
Yeah.
It's been a roller coaster ride in Winnipeg. They've had games they should have won that they've handed back to the opposition. And the Bombers are trying to make a solid case for being in the playoffs.
And they are making a very solid case in the second half of the year. That was Mike Philbrick, the injured Hamilton Tiger Cat.
When I say tipsy-topsy, am I thinking topsy-turvy?
Topsy-turvy,
but,
tipsy-topsy.
Somewhere along there.
I hear you. Mike Philbrick slow to get up. Just getting off the field. That's Philbrick right over here. That's Mike Philbrick trying to get back and chase after Corey Philpott, and I believe it was Brett McNeil that cut him.
Philbrick is having a super season. I think his best year in the CFL. 41 tackles, 3 sacks, couple of fumble recoveries.
Hamilton's going to run out of defensive players.
Well, they're just about out of players, aren't they? With injuries, disqualifications. Huge play by Philpott. The previous time he got the ball, it was 2nd and 17. He picked up 19. A little less successful here, but the Bombers continue the drive anyway on a 4-yard gain.
When you look at this game, Montreal versus Saskatchewan Roughriders coming up on Sunday in Taylor Field. The Riders, of course, hoping that Hamilton wins this game here tonight. They'll be cheering for them. Montreal hopes Winnipeg will win the game and keep Hamilton from getting any closer to first. So,
yeah, it's the Survivor Series. There's some strange alliances being formed. Kahari Jones has a day and a half to get this one away, and they call it a catch for Stiegel.
Well, I don't know.
They roll it now, no catch.
Yeah, Gerald Vaughn is a tough individual. He's a tough hombre. He walked over there, looked right in the eye of the official, and waved it off. And right after he did that, the official agreed. And I really don't blame him. Look at Gerald Vaughn. You don't want to mess with Gerald Vaughn.
An opposing guy.
Yeah, he gets over there right away. Here's the throw. Kahari Jones has to scramble out of the pocket to his right and throw on the run. Tough throw to make. One hopper.
Yeah, they got
good call by the official, but at this point they haven't signaled, and then Gerald Vaughn comes over there and starts yelling at him, and he goes, "Oh yeah, you're right, it bounced."
Yeah, but the official in your picture there was coming from behind the play. He couldn't make the call. Someone had to come from the other angle. They got it, and the Bombers are kicking. Ticats are down by a touchdown. It's blocked. Ticats have a chance to score here. Vaughn chases it into the end zone. Now the Bombers get it right back. Absolutely amazing. Brad Yamoka came back, recovered the fumble.
I hear you. Well, you know what? I believe it was Chris Schilling. We said it hasn't been a great game for Chris Schilling. Not one of his best. I think he's the guy who blocked that punt.
An interesting night as the world turns in Winnipeg. Block kick. Schilling got through for the Tiger Cats.
Only at Radio Shack.
Brad Yamoka right here. His job as a personal protector is to look up inside. If there's nothing there, look to the outside. Chris Schilling is the guy coming from the outside. And when Brad Yamoka steps up, as you see him slide to the inside, that leaves Chris Schilling free off the corner. He gets his hands on it. Now the Bombers recover, but it'll be Hamilton's football because they didn't get first down yardage anyway.
So the Ticats have a chance to tie it right here. First down, McManus, touchdown. Flag down at the 5-yard line, but McManus was on the money as he fired a touchdown strike into the end zone.
Jerome Bolden and Archie Amerson were again battling.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Winnipeg 21.
Touchdown will
Penalties
stand for
decline.
Andrew Gregg.
Touchdown.
That was the penalty. I saw it again. Jerome Bolden and Archie Amerson fighting down the field, and Andrew Gregg in behind on the post pattern comes up with a touchdown. And if Ozzy gets this extra point, it ties the game up. The contact happened away from the play. You saw Danny McManus look over there to Archie Amerson's side. He was all tangled up with Jerome Bolden, and Andrew Gregg's in behind everybody.
Tiger Cats were down 24-3, and now they are even at 24 with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Wow.
An unlikely story unfolding in Winnipeg. The Bombers have self-destructed here in the late going, offering the Tiger Cats the free touchdown on the interception and then blocking the punt and scoring on the first play after taking possession.
Well, two key mistakes. It's not really Brad Yamoka's fault for stepping up. There was pressure inside on that punt. He had to. Chris Schelling blocks that one, and then the Kahari Jones mistake on the interception to Rob Hitchcock, and all of a sudden we have a tie football game. Sometimes good teams can win ugly.
McManus looking cool here on the toss to Andrew Gregg for his 6th touchdown.
You see there, as he dropped back, he looked to his left first. That's where Archie Amerson was. That drew the flag, so he was going to get a free play anyway and threw it into that post pattern to Andrew Gregg. And as he did, took a hit from Benny Good.
Tiger Cats are back to even.
Wow.
With back-to-back touchdowns. Actually 3 in a row when you add it all up. Well, 21 straight points.
Yeah, just look at this though. See, that's second half production offensively for Winnipeg. 3 points so far.
Bombers need a drive here.
Oh, another mistake again.
Looking for a block. It's not coming for Albert Johnson III. He's forced out near the 15.
See, that's a small mistake that, you know, you don't really notice in the big picture, but it's a huge one because it's probably going to cost Winnipeg around 20 yards of field position. Dave Donaldson is back there with Albert Johnson, and Winnipeg wants so badly for Albert Johnson to get his hands on the football on returns that Dave Donaldson just jumps out of there way too early. That ball bounces right where he leaves. Now Johnson has to go and try and get it. By the time he gets back, he can't get any yardage.
Huge series for Kahari Jones, who started well, but has struggled lately. The Bombers have not moved the football last couple of possessions. This is a wounded duck, and it was almost grabbed by Fells. Willie Fells.
Yeah, Kahari Jones.
High enough.
Well, Kahari Jones got hammered. He got hit when he threw the football, didn't get anything on it. And Willie Fells can't believe it. Here comes the hit. Kahari Jones, I believe it was Mark Word, actually knocked his arm down, and look at that. No one around Willie Fells. He drops that one. Look at there, 97. Stop the forward motion of Kahari Jones' passing arm.
Well, he should have held on to it, I'm thinking. 2nd and 10, though. Bombers at the 15. Time for Kahari this time. And he's on the money for Robert Gordon.
That's a catch.
Yeah, that's a huge catch and a nice pass.
But that's a catch. Like, Robert Gordon has made some catches for touchdowns tonight, but that was bigger. Not only was it first down, but there were bullets flying all over the middle of that field. And he somehow hung on to the football.
6th catch for Robert Gordon. He has 129 yards, including 16 of the previous play. 24-24. 2 minutes to go at Winnipeg Stadium. Bombers need a couple of first downs. This will do it for Stiegel. Took a hit. He was hammered by Kevin Brooks after making the catch.
Going back to the veterans, going back to Robert Gordon. That was the big catch. Milt Stiegel catches right on to that one and says, okay, well, let me get involved again. Look at this Robert Gordon catch one more time. I mean, this is a very difficult catch right over the middle of the field. This is where he knows he's going to get hit. Here comes Gordon. 3 guys for the Ticats ready to unload on Gordon. Comes up with that one. Then Stiegel, all of a sudden they're driving.
16 yards there, and here's Philpott. right tackle for about 5.
A minute 39, and again, you can slow things down a little bit. Running the ball to Corey Philpott can slow things down so that you get this drive into field goal range, but you take a lot of time off the clock while you do it. You want to be able to kick this field goal with zeros up there. So really, although those were 2 big catches by Gordon and then by Stiegel, you almost want to slow things down if you're the Winnipeg offense right now.
Philpott, 13 carries, 78 yards. Jones goes long. What a catch! Incredible catch by Robert Gordon.
Unreal.
Absolutely brilliant. Nicholas Harper was right with him, stride for stride. The Bombers still have a chance to win this as a result.
Robert Gordon early in the game went to the sideline after a touchdown, and he had a slight concussion. He comes back and makes catches like that. There's still some football to be played this weekend, but he's got my nomination for Player of the Week right now.
7 catches, 166 yards. Nice little pickup there. 57 seconds to go. Bombers are set up at the Ticat 21. Philpott again. And as you say, they want to have the opportunity to kick this field goal or score this touchdown with as little time on the clock as possible.
Well, there's 50 seconds left right now, and I'm sure Dave Ritchie is thinking, we want to keep the ball on the ground, but we'd like another first down. At least one more before we line up the field goal team, because if they get stopped right here, Danny McManus may have about 25, 30 seconds for a couple of plays.
Yeah, there's a huge play for the Ticat defense. Hamilton has to stop the Bombers here. Philpott.
Okay, they do.
Get the first down. Wells made the tackle, 27 seconds to go.
Okay, Westwood comes in now. Hamilton uses their timeout, and they have to now, because if they don't, then Westwood uses the full 20 seconds, which gives Hamilton about 17 left.
Yeah.
Right? So now Hamilton uses their timeout, so that means the clock won't start until the ball is snapped. They kick the field goal. That takes 3 or 4 seconds off the clock, likely. And now Danny McManus, who will take the ball, not asked to receive a kickoff, will have about 23 seconds to go.
And a chance to equal or better what the Bombers come away with here, which seems to be a fairly easy field goal try for Westwood, but he's only clicking on 50% so far tonight. Missed one, made one. Down, up, and through. Bombers have the lead. 24 seconds on the clock.
Well, it's 3 seconds, just like we predicted. So now Danny McManus takes the football. He's got basically time for 8 plays.
In spite of the pressure on Lancaster and the Ticats right now, this is when football really gets to be fun for Ron Lancaster, isn't it?
Well, no question.
Managing this last 24 seconds on the clock.
Well, he did it tremendously as a quarterback for 19 years in the Canadian Football League, and he does it pretty well as a coach. And he has a quarterback in the huddle right now that can get it done.
Yeah, and thinks exactly like Ron Lancaster did as a quarterback.
And this is what you want as a football player. The ball in your hands with a chance to get back and tie this game.
And the Ticats have been on a nice little roll until giving up that field goal to Winnipeg. McManus first down. Lost the ball. He was wrapped up from behind and was lucky to get it back. He got a little bit of a bounce.
Ron Warner caught him from behind, and that play took 5 seconds. So McManus calls another one on the fly here.
First sack by the Bombers tonight. 16 seconds to go. Good coverage by Bolden. Morielli had it tipped away. Great crowd in Winnipeg tonight, over 25,000. And the Bombers are 12 seconds away from taking a huge step toward getting a playoff spot.
Sure are. Now this is where they're going to give Hamilton a little bit more room. You can't give one up in behind you. Hamilton can very likely get the first down, but will they have enough time to make anything out of it?
Yeah, this is third down, so this is the Tiger Cats' last chance right here. Shotgun, McManus. Looking over the middle, he has Flutie.
Okay, well, he has 6 seconds left. 6 seconds in the game. They'll hustle up over the ball. They've used their timeout. They did after the Westwood field goal. Basically have a time for one more play and then get the field goal team on the field.
Bombers need the huge play here. Ticats. A one-hopper. Arrows on the clock. Bombers hang on. Ticats came close to making it very interesting. Huge win for Dave Ritchie.
Well, early in the season, Dave Ritchie lost a lot of those close ones.
Oh, did he?
Just like this tonight.
3 games by a total of 8 points first 3 weeks of the season.
And that always has a way of coming back around and working for you.
And if you want to get hot, this is the time of the year to get hot. We give the game ball to Robert Gordon. Why not? Anybody else out there that is more deserving? 166 yards and a couple of touchdowns. And the game ball is brought to you by Adidas. Hey, it came down as a thriller in the final analysis. Bombers over the Ticats by 3. Time now for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Super 8 Motel.
Well, he got our Adidas game ball. He also gets the key play in the game, and that was late in the 4th quarter. Set up the Troy Westwood winning field goal. Robert Gordon with a 37-yard one-hand catch. 37 of 166 yards receiving on the night for Robert Gordon.
Cash donation be made to the Coaches Association of Canada on behalf of Super 8 Motels. Clean and friendly. Super 8, all the room you want. It was a thriller down to the final seconds. The Bombers prevail over the Tiger Cats on Adidas Friday Night Football.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. James Duthie back to wrap things up. And yes, they made it a little bit of an adventure, but the Bombers do indeed prevail and now lead the Argos by 3 points in the race for the final playoff spot. Our next game is coming at you Sunday. The Owls can now clinch first overall in the East if they beat Saskatchewan. Before you check that out, check out tsn.ca/CFL for all your stats, features, and analysis. Sports Desk is up next, the full NHL story, plus day 2 of the President's Cup. Mike Weir had a good day, but his international counterparts, not so much. They're doing that funky jive thing in the peg as the Bombers win a huge one. This has been a presentation of TSN, Canada's most watched sports network.